and that way he'll follow along better. Well, great. We have 67 so far. So Sri, you underestimated the show-up rate.
No.
Good way.
This is the whole team, the students and the parents. They have been, definitely we were pushing them. Without that, it won't happen. Kids are oftentimes they are shy, at least showcasing their own program. But I think they have done a phenomenal job here. 75. So maybe Nihar, in 1 or 2 minutes, you do the queue, and then Karan will take it from there. Is that what it is, or Karan will kick it off, or what is the best way to?
Karan can kick it off.
30 seconds. I just
What I will do is put the YouTube link because we are now live on YouTube.
And can you maybe take the next 2 minutes, Nihar, to make those announcements to say, people can watch on YouTube?
Yeah. So everyone, I've put a YouTube link right at the bottom there. So if you'd like to share that with yourself or with any of your family or friends, you can just copy that YouTube link, send it right over to them as well.
All the panel members are already on the call, it looks like, right?
That is correct, Ichike. So Karan, in a minute, it is your cue to just let's kick it off. I think we have enough people.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we not live?
Do a mic test for me. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, well, we can hear you fine. Thank you.
Good. Somehow it's saying low resources on this end. Yeah.
No,
Good.
yes, all good.
Hi, Nai.
Hey, Paul, good to see you.
And hi, AGK as well.
Hi, Paul.
Thanks for all the support of our youth. This is really what the next generation's about.
Yep.
Hey, Fatima.
How are you?
No, I can't hear you, Fatima. I can see you, but it's coming out
choppy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So with that, Karan, take it away. Do you want to kick it off?
Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope everyone can hear me. I hope everyone can see me. We are all excited to have you. This is one of the most unique presentations and unique pitch competitions we've had. Given the situation, we have tried to make sure that we can give our student presenters the opportunity to present in front of an audience. So we thank you all for joining us today. We thank you all for coming in. This is the TYE Local Pitch Fest, and we are excited to kick it off. For this afternoon, we have 4 teams presenting. They are student leaders. They are all entrepreneurs in their own way, and they are all trying to use their skills, their energy, and their sort of different, vibrant perspective to create a positive impact in their own communities. Before we begin, I just want AGK, the TYE Silicon Valley president-elect, to come and share a few words about TYE Silicon Valley, and what the community is. AGK, it's off to you.
Yeah, thanks, Karan. Welcome, everybody. My name is AGK Karunakaran. I'm the president-elect of TYE Silicon Valley, and I've been a member of TYE for a very long time, since 1995 to be precise. And I've been a charter member, served TYE in different capacities as convener, as volunteer for various tracks and all that. Youth chapter or youth track is very near and dear to me. When I was a convener of TYCon 2015, I got to know a lot about the youth track. So it's a great opportunity for me to address all of you. As you all know, TYE was founded back in 1992 with the intent to support entrepreneurs and foster entrepreneurship. And today that organization has grown worldwide to 61 chapters, charter members worldwide crossing 3,000. And we have a member base very large, and we also have footprint in 14 different countries. Silicon Valley is the mother chapter. This is where it all got started. And today we have about 250 plus charter members, 1,600 regular members, and lots of volunteers like who are all helping us to put an event like this together. And there are a broad community who's, putting their effort into TYE and getting the benefit. So the key areas that TYE is focused on is the, all putting the entrepreneur front and center in the context of mentoring them, educating them, providing them a network, and then of course assist them with funding. So TYE that way is all about entrepreneurs, and charter members are the one component of the one constituent. Members are the other. We got sponsors supporting TYE Silicon Valley. And then, of course, the youth is a great another addition, because for TYE to succeed well, we need to harness the energy of the youth, and youth programs, just accomplishes that. And then I think TYE worldwide is looking at TYE in a big way, because we want this generation, the next generation of entrepreneurs or youth, to take on and lead, create and lead huge companies and create wealth for themselves and for the community. So with respect to the youth programs, as we have this TYE Entrepreneurs Academy, and where the high school students go through the whole year of, I remember, back in August, I guess, timeframe, where we kicked this off, and I think we have come a very good long way here. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we'll have to do it remotely, but it's very well planned and organized. And I really want to thank the entire volunteer base to make it happen. And there is opportunity to engage in TYE University for the students who are high schoolers who would eventually go to college but stay engaged with TYE. We also have youth track at TYCon, and there's also a lot of networking opportunities. So I want to say that this is very important for everybody participating in this, whether it's students or their parents, friends, and family. A network like TYE can grow and mushroom very, very well, only when you use the network. So what you put into the network is what you get out of it. So I strongly recommend you participating in all the events, sharing the experiences that that everyone gets in this into the social media, so that the more people are aware of the activities that TYE does, the more engagement it would be. So I look forward to a great session, and this is wonderful to see the energy of these youth. And with that, Karan, please take it away, and then pass on to the next person. Yeah.
Thanks, AGK. That was super helpful. I know we will be covering community engagement a little in detail as we move forward. I would want to invite Shivani Bhasin to come and speak about the TYE program as AGK mentioned, it is a program that is near and dear to everyone at TYE. I would want Shivani to come and talk about the program a little bit.
Shivani, I think you're.
Thank you, AGK, and thank you, Karan. You gave a wonderful overview of what TYE looks like. I'm Shivani. I've been with the TYE program for about 4 years. And one of the things that I really enjoy about this program is the energy that the youth bring. It's amazing to see them, with their ideas and how they can build something out of it throughout this program. So the essence of what we hope that this new generation takes away from this program is really well captured in this quote by Steve Jobs. So our high schoolers are no doubt very smart, driven, ambitious. What they have taken away from this program, or what I hope they take away from this program, is their ability to make a difference. Over the past 6 months, we have seen them identify really challenging problems and turn them into really good opportunities and work through it. I'm sure that you'll agree with me when I say that they've been working really hard. Their hard work will be pretty evident as they do their pitching in a little while from now. TYE's, Shri, can you move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. TYE program's mission is to inspire, mentor, and connect the youth of today. As AGK mentioned, we have a wonderful wealth of, we have a wonderful network. We have some really strong, experienced, and helpful charter members who are either industry leaders, experienced entrepreneurs, VCs, and we would really love for our youth to be plugged into these people and network with these people, get that connection going on. In addition to this, we also have just other charter members as well, which could be a great resource for the youth to be tapping into. They also have other opportunities within TYCon and some of the other events that are coming up that Shri will talk about in the future. And we would love for them to come and talk to people and gain from their wisdom and experience. With that, I would like to introduce our 4 amazing teams. Shri, if you thank you. These are the 4 amazing teams that have been through this program, and they will be pitching in front of you guys today. As you will be seeing shortly, they've been working really, really hard, and I'm super proud of them. And so wishing all of them good luck. I do not want to be telling you more about their ideas. I think they'll do a better job of it than I will. And lastly, I want to give a quick shout out to all the people who've been working behind the scenes. And so this program is just not possible without their help and support. So there's a core team of volunteers who've been working and running this program for the past 6 months. We also have our tutors, the advisors, and of course, people who've been running the operations behind it. So I want to especially call out on a few people who have been helping a lot. So thank you, Naeem, Paul, Priya, Reena, Jay, Shri, and Ashish for making this happen. And also, I do not want to forget our parent mentors. They have been amazing in terms of supporting the teams, in terms of the operations, as well as just helping them get unblocked on what it is that they were struggling with, whether it was coordinating with other mentors or just helping them set up times to meet. It's been tremendous help. So thank you so much. And with this, I will pass it on to Shri, who will talk about what's coming up next.
Thanks, Shivani. So as you can, so the one comment that I wanted to make, just to add on to what Shivani was saying, there is a group that kind of came together. It's a lot of hours, as much as we have seen the students working at least at 200 to 300 hours at a minimum, working on their pitches, focusing on these ideas. There are a lot of people who help them through this process. We always, we were very happy to actually have Paul, Priya, and Naeem giving us the guidance, because we're all kind of, doing it on our own. And this is a lot of, it requires a lot of team work and support and advisory here. We have Reena, who is working tirelessly with the teams as a mentor to make them really good, right? So we really want them to succeed. And that's the reason why we have this program. And finally, there is a group of young teams that are actually kind of, they just said, well, this is a youth program. We're going to actually market this program. So there is a team that is here who is actually kind of helping, and then the tutors have been amazing. It was a lot of work. It was a very good fulfilling work, and we definitely want to take this program forward, and we would love, to Karan's point, to have the community support us through this program. Okay. So just kind of setting up, right? So we have some plans. Maybe these are a little bit too aggressive, but we have 3 different tracks that we want to take it forward. To HEK's point, it is, like Paul keeps telling me, right? It is our hope, and it is our responsibility to bring the next level entrepreneurs. So we have the first program, as we talked about. We are showcasing 4 teams that are coming out of the Young Entrepreneur High School program. They are now going through the finals, local finals right now, and they're going to go to Seattle, where they are going to, again, it's virtual, by the way, today, this year around with COVID-19, but one team is going to represent in the globals. And we have a cohort coming next year. Please join this program and spread the word. And the second is we're actually having a university program where we are working with 6 universities based out of Santa Clara and Silicon Valley, and we're actually doing a pitch fest. And then finally, we have a number of events developed here to make sure that the high school kids, the university students, and the young entrepreneurs, who are on this call, who are the judges, who are inspiration for a lot of the people on this call presenting, we want them to be part of the community. And we are going to have a few events where a lot of this is about inspiration. We really want to actually have these events to inspire and get some kind of connections going. So this is a little bit of an overview of what the lineup we have for 2020. Okay. Again, like we said, we cannot do it without community support. A lot of us on this team working any number of hours, part of this program is to help the next generation entrepreneurs. We really want you guys to be part of the journey. So we have 4 broad areas where we are looking for students. This is your program, by the way, and some of the times I always joke to Shivani saying that I should color my hair. I should not be doing these kinds of things. You guys need to be taking the charge. We are here to support, and we really want the students to step up and be part of the program. So we have 4 key areas where they can help. So we have a link here, we have a QR code. Please go ahead and subscribe to it and be part of the program. And for parents, we really want you to help us, right? So parents, as we know, a lot of the parents that I have seen that have that kind of, when their kids actually went through the program, I know that there are so many parents who are very involved in and committed for growth, not only for their children, but also for the whole team. We really want you to make a great impact. This is a forum where you can actually kind of give back to the community. So we have 3 different areas where we really think that you can actually kind of contribute. And again, the link is here for you to subscribe. So again, I want to kind of summarize it, and then we want to really get to the program very quickly. A lot of work has gone through it where we are. We really want to expand this program to create value and create a community. We are here to take this program forward, and with your help, we're going to make it so much more useful for your kids and for all the young generation entrepreneurs and the next generation business leaders. With that, I'll actually pass it on to Karan.
Thanks, Sri. That was super helpful, the color on community and how people can get involved. But I think we have a lot of people now waiting to understand what is going on today. And for that, I want to call on Paul, who can discuss the judging rubric and who can introduce our judges today. Paul, over to you. Paul, I think
There you go.
There we go, Paul.
As they say, take 2, right, in Hollywood. So in that regard, thanks for inviting me. Greetings from Atlanta, Georgia. Last year, they had me and others like Vijay Menon from TYE Global help your chapter with picking the winning team. And that's how we got to pick, I believe it was called XR Glove, who I understand won 3rd place in the competition worldwide. So we're looking for, you all have great big shoes to fill. In that regard, I'm going to ask each judge to cover sort of a short version of about themselves, just 30, 45 seconds. I'll do that at the end and cover for all of you that are listening how we're going to go about working with the teams today to find out about their projects and score them accordingly. So we'll do it in left to right order. So Fatima, you're on next.
Thank you so much. My name is Fatima Diko. I studied chemical engineering at Columbia and then got my MBA from Stanford Business School. I'm an entrepreneur for over 5 years, and I've been working on a company called Jetpack, which is a mobile marketplace where people can order the things they need and get them delivered in less than 15 minutes. I'm really looking forward to learning more about the companies.
Great. Charu, you're up.
Sure. I met an Airbnb, so this is the best light I could find. But my name is Charu. I'm an entrepreneur based in San Francisco, generally right now in the Midwest, staying close to some family members. I've built a couple startups in the past, and I'm on a sabbatical advising some companies, investing in some companies right now. And I love mentoring founders and aspiring founders.
Great. And last but not least, Shashi.
Hi, my name is Shashi Jan. I'm an associate entrepreneur in residence at the Intel incubator. I've been an early stage startup advisor for quite some time. I've been involved with the TYE program for about 5 years, and I'm also the global education director for TYE. So I think it's an amazing program, and Silicon Valley has done some wonderful things. I can't wait to see the presentations. So.
Thanks, Shashi. And introducing myself, I recently ended my role December 31st as president of TYE Atlanta and have been asked by TYE Global to lead the TYE University program. So I hope some of you that are presenting today might be joining us in the years ahead. In my day job, I get to run a venture capital company with early stage tech startups. It's called 1111 Ventures. My background is both as an entrepreneur in banking, and then prior to that in big companies like IBM and Xerox. So, and have been a university professor. So, and by the way, I should mention that even though I'm 3 hours ahead, I do not know the answers to all the scores yet. So it's just like, you know, on television where we get to know the end of the story, that's really not true. So maybe it's time to tell you how we're going to do our job as judges, and I'm expecting you all will make it real hard on us. So TYE Global, about 5 years ago, put together a scorecard. It's called a judging rubric. All the students have been certainly aware of this particular portion, but what we will be doing is looking at the process and how well the students have learned these fundamentals. So one of the things we are not going to do is look at it as if we were venture capitalists and is this an investable idea. We're going to go down this particular list. Have you done your customer validation work? Have you really done the product market fit? Do you understand it? Do you work well as a team, etc.? We have a scale we're going to utilize. And with that work, we've got a back-end automated model that will allow us to, at the end of the fourth presentation, by the way, you will present and then we will get to ask some Q&A items. And collectively on that, we will go off into another Zoom meeting and make our determination. So this is essentially the criteria with which we're going to judge the 4 teams. I'm hopeful, if we're ready to go to the next slide, our intent is then after the 4 teams are done, I believe you all have a panel. Our decision, I know you're going to make it hard. And that's what we want. We know you've put in 300, 400 hours as students. And in that regard, we're going to come back with announcing team number 1 with a monetary prize of 300, team number 2 with a monetary prize of 200, and teams 3 and 4, not only a small monetary prize, but we're going to pick some particular kind of things that we saw that were exemplary in the work you showed us today. based on all these hundreds of hours, or whether it be best teamwork, we're going to make that determination. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back to the organizers. I know all of you are ready for the show to begin.
Thank you so much, Paul. It is definitely an exciting time. We are super excited, and without wasting any time, I am going to bring on our first team, Team UVO. Team UVO, if you could please put on your mics. If you all can please put on your video cameras. We are excited to see what you all have for us.
I think maybe Karan, for all the others who are not presenting, maybe we should hide the camera, maybe.
Yeah, we could probably do that. All right, Vishal, when you are ready, please just give me a thumbs up. I will start your time. Just for our viewers and everyone in the audience, our teams have a 10-minute pitch followed by some time for questions and answers. I'm not going to take more time from Team UVO. You have the spotlight. All the best, guys.
Okay, thank you, Karan, and we're ready to go. One common spot that students like us find ourselves in is 2 a.m., the night before a test, flipping frantically through the pages of a textbook, even thinking about waking up a friend or two to find the answer to a question that just sounds like Greek and Latin to us. That's why we created UVO, which is Latin for help. UVO is a platform that allows students to ask and answer educational questions in an engaging and efficient way. I am Vishal and I am the CEO of UVO. We are a team of students who face this every single day, and we are dedicated to solving this problem once and for all, for us and for the broader student community. Right now, there is no single cohesive platform where students can get the answers they need and where students who do have those answers can share what they know. Given the current coronavirus pandemic, almost all schools in the US have shifted over to an online curriculum, forcing students to depend on subpar and unhelpful platforms to get the answer they need. To see whether others face this same problem, we spoke to over 100 middle and high school students from a variety of different schools. Students say they spend anywhere from 15 to 50 minutes each day looking up the answers to questions. That's anywhere from 90 to over 300 hours per year per student. Let's think about that for a second. That's a lot of unutilized time. Currently, students use 3 main platforms, Google, Quora, and Khan Academy. Most of the questions asked revolve around STEM topics, which is not a surprise at all. According to Pew Research Center, STEM topics are among the most complex and subjective for interpretation. For example, one subject I struggle with is biology. I asked this question: how does a cell membrane use ATP energy? First, I asked Khan Academy. These lecture-style results are irrelevant to my question. Second, I asked Google. Slightly more helpful, but did not fully answer my question. Lastly, I asked Quora, which provided 2 completely contradicting answers, which only caused me more confusion. Think about how a student would feel getting these answers the day before a major test when they're scrambling to prepare. They would feel helpless. UVO is an app-based edtech platform where students ask any STEM question and have it answered real time. UVO also offers free and premium access to students depending on the level of help they need in these topics. Now I'm going to pass it on to Shaylee, who will explain our product more in depth.
Thanks, Vishal. I'm Shaylee, the head of product development. Let's visualize this with the roadmap. We have outlined the main points for how students use UVO in 4 simple steps. UVO is a great platform for students to rely on for quick and easy answers to their questions. They can receive direct help for responses and have so many helpful resources. However, what happens if they require additional help or specialized assistance in a particular topic? This brings us to our STAR students. These are a special feature on UVO where excelling students with the correct qualifications can teach other students for a fee. What's their motive? For one, this will look great on their college resume and they can make some extra cash doing it. Also, if you're familiar with the high school social norms, you know that smart kids aren't very popular compared to, say, football players. On UVO, these kids will finally be the head of popularity. UVO coins are a fun way to increase student engagement. I mean, who doesn't like a bit of competition? Students receive coins by answering and getting upvotes on questions, and get double the amount of coins by answering first. They can spend their own coins to push their own questions to the top of the category or to redeem other rewards. This is the UVO prototype. Users can start by logging in, then selecting a topic that they want to look at. Next, users can see the most popular topics and the ones they most recently viewed. Our user here is going to look at microbiology. Here, questions on microbiology are listed with the most recent ones posted on the top. To be pushed to the top of the list, users can use their coins that they gain by answering questions, just how users here answered Vishal's question. The number of coins a user receives depends on the number of upvotes and downvotes they get for their answer. In the premium version, users are able to contact and can schedule sessions with STAR students. In our in-app scheduler, STAR students can show the times that they are available, and learners can mark the times that won't work for them. In our user profile, you can see the coin and upvote status and their past activity. And that is UVO. Now I will pass it on to Samyak to talk about how we stack up against our competitors.
Thanks, Shaylee. So, what makes us different? Well, we make student-to-student communication and learning swift and frustration-free. Students that need help can get it quickly, and excelling students have a platform to share what they know. A peer-to-peer environment makes understanding concepts much easier for students. People in our age group speak the same lingo and can understand our struggles better. On the other hand, teachers are so used to teaching a concept their own one single way that they might not know how to step into the shoes of a confused student. Approaching peers to ask for help is less awkward and an easier step to take for most teens our age. A more comfortable student is able to learn better. While most students look to Quora, Google, and Khan Academy for help, these websites aren't tailored toward students the way UVO is. UVO lets students communicate and learn from each other and rewards those who participate. I will now pass it on to Manasi, who will explain our business model.
Thanks, Samyak. My name is Mansi, and I'm UVO's marketing and strategy lead. Our target market is initially going to be middle and high school students, and we are planning on adding elementary schoolers by year 3. UVO will have 3 main sources of revenue. First, advertising by student-targeted companies. These include school supply stores, book rental companies, and universities. Second, the premium membership, which operates on a subscription model at $4.99 per month. Learners that want to receive additional help with one-on-one support and STAR students who want to help learners must be premium members. This creates an extra tier of support and collaboration for students. Learners who may be STAR students in biology can reach out to other STAR students to get the help that they need in computer science, truly creating a peer-to-peer learning community. Finally, the STAR students and learners will decide on a time frame and frequency to hold video calls for their sessions, and UVO receives a 20% cut out of the transaction in referral fees. Our business model and market size scale across the world. As you can see from this maximum calculation of our revenue in 1 year, our market is $511 million in the US alone. Plenty of opportunity here. Now I'm going to pass it on to Ritu, who will explain our go-to-market strategy as well as our financial model.
Thank you, Manasi. I'm Ritu, and I'm the head of finance for UVO. So the question is, of course, how are we going to reach our students? Social media is one of the most obvious routes. Studies show that teens spend up to 3 hours every day on social media, which means it's the most efficient and effective way for us to spread our user base. Say UVO helped me pass a test that I was doomed for, so I wanted to share this life-saving app with my friends. If I posted something like this on my Instagram story, all of my followers could see it. Now, if 20 of my friends were to repost this, and 20 of each of their friends reposted it as well, then such a message could go viral. Now, another way we could gain users is through schools. We're not going to go through the school districts. There's a lot of red tape, and there's lots of rigid rules that we'd have to follow. Instead, we'll reach our users through more relevant and student-led groups, like the Associated Student Body. We want to target people who are just like us to help spread the word via their community. Now let's look at our numbers. As you can see, there's a lot of numbers here, so I won't read them all out to you. On the left, you can see our revenue table. That takes in our 3 streams of revenue. Now, the most important number is at the bottom right, our net profits. For year 0 and year 1, we don't expect to be making money, but by our second year, we project turning around profits. Now that you understand the numbers behind UVO, I'll pass it on to Samir. He's going to talk about the timeline.
Thank you, Ritu. After initial market research and several pivots, we came up with UVO. Some key milestones that we're hoping to achieve over the next year are, first, to build a working app. Second, to continue to add specific features that make our products unique. And finally, third, to build our user base to our go-to market strategy. We will be asking for a pre-seed of $500,000. With this money, we will set aside the majority to develop the app, which will be released in the next 6 months, paying for professional app developers to officially get this company up and running. The remaining money will go towards advertising to reach our goal of 50,000 learners and 300 star students on our product by the end of this year. With the required funding, our team will be willing to commit full time on this in the future. Especially given the coronavirus situation, we hope that you see how much of a need there is for a product like this and why we are the right team to execute on it.
Thank you for your time. We are now open for questions.
Thank you, Team UVO. That was a great presentation. Honestly, while I was in middle and high school, I wish I had a platform of this nature where I could ask my friends and peers doubts I had. Questions from judges. Judges, we encourage you to ask as many questions. We would want you all to be a little mindful of the time. We have about 5 minutes allotted to questions. It can go over 5 minutes, but not beyond 6. Judges?
Sashi, you want to sort of moderate this team in the next one? I'll do the last 2.
Yeah, you got it. I have a question to start out with. You've done a really great job in putting everything together here. I'm wondering, what did you incorporate? What did you learn from users, and how did you incorporate that into your concept?
Okay, so we learned that majority of the questions that they have in terms of like questions of difficulty were regarding STEM topics, as shown in this graph right here. We asked them to list out the topics that they found most challenging and most difficult, and they had most questions, and we got them to respond like this. We also figured out that our 3 main competitors, and we analyzed what is each of their weaknesses.
Okay.
I have a question. This is Charu.
Go ahead.
So it's so impressive, first of all, and equally impressive is the time commitment you've put into this. I'm curious to hear what was the original idea that you came up with and how has it evolved through
I'm sorry, Sharu, you broke up a little bit in there. But
sorry, I was asking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Over the course of your learnings and the mentorship that you received?
Yeah, so originally we started out with a platform to allow high schoolers to volunteer at underprivileged schools and teach STEM topics. But we realized that after a lot of market research and pivots that idea was not viable and was not actually meeting a user's needs, the needs of our students.
I have a question. Great presentation. I love it. I love the way that you've incorporated customer acquisition and you really did your due diligence around the problem. The one question that I have is, it seems that you've identified the major problem as a lot of these other platforms not having quality control around the types of answers that come out, right? Like there's some that say one thing, some that say another. How will you be dealing with quality control with your star students who are going to be answering the questions?
So I'm going to redirect that problem. I think my friend Shaylee, who is the head of our product, can answer that question better than I can. So Shaylee, I pass it off to you.
Yeah, so we've been thinking about this because, of course, we want to make sure that the answers all our students received are accurate and that they can use them for whatever they may need. So what we plan to do is sort through the questions. We're going to have kind of like an algorithm that will verify that the answers are correct and that it's not any spam, as you can see like on Quora or Google, and that it's accurate and gets the information across to our users.
Thank you.
I'll go next. If you can go to your differentiation slide where you had a bunch of checks under UVO and some X's under the other, I'll ask it on behalf of somebody who's actually watching us on YouTube. It's a question I also have. Very easy to put, yep, we're the greatest and someone else is not as good, but speak a little more to the real differentiation of your services, and also why would somebody then tell 20 of their friends that, boy, this is the greatest thing and I want you to use it. So speak a little deeper to that, please.
Okay, I will answer this question. So we want to target a student audience. We want to make a product that benefits our students and makes it engaging, something that they'd go out and share to some of their friends. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to play upon the fact that most of the students our age are very, very competitive. We find something, we create a system where they can create coins and they can challenge their friends to add more coins so that they can compete. And I know personally, I am very competitive, and I think that was something that we wanted to add. That's why we put gamification as one of those check marks. So another thing that we wanted to do is that I research a lot in terms of homework and questions. I think just having something that adequately sorts out spam content, that Shaylee was saying, like some random person will start like posting emojis or something on the answers, and it just wasn't helping. So I think having an algorithm that would sort out stuff like that, which I know Quora and Google don't, would be something that I would share with my friends.
Thank you.
All right, I had another question, kind of sort of related to this. So if you can't get Google, Quora, or Khan Academy today, what do you rely on if you can't get any of these?
If you can't get them?
If you can't get your answer, I'm sorry.
Oh. If I can't get my answer on them, then the first thing I would do is try to reach out to a peer. Honestly, that was the basis for this. I would go on messages. I would try to text my friends and see if they know the answer to all more questions.
Okay. And did you actually execute on this? Meaning, like, I saw the app screens, but what about, did you find some STAR students? Did you try this model out, connect people together to who have questions to STAR students?
That is a very good idea. We have not, but thank you for that. That was a very good suggestion.
I think we may be at time, but we'll let you make that call.
Judges, we are at time indeed. Team UVO, thank you so much for a great presentation and for great responses to the questions you all were asked. Please put your cameras off. Please put yourselves on mute. We would want to now invite Team My Recycler to come on.
May I suggest also, while that other team's coming on, the audience is doing a great job of participating. They've got some great questions, so we invite the team members, because this is part of the learning process, go ahead and provide answers.
That's a great idea, Paul. Team My Recycler, are we coming on? Yes, I can see Mansi. Mansi, I'm going to wait for you to give me an indication so that I can start your time. Please let me know when your team is ready.
Let me just check to make sure everybody's here.
Sure.
So let's see. I think we're missing one person, Ridvika. Oh, okay, she's there. Never mind. I see her now. Okay.
Perfect. All right. My recycler, you all have 10 minutes. Your time has begun.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mansi, and I'm the CEO of My Recycler. Thank you for this amazing opportunity to pitch our idea to all the judges, and let's begin the demo. So did you know that 80% of the items buried in landfills shouldn't actually be there? They should be recycled. And this is a really big problem since we want to be conserving our landfill space. And allow me to tell you how this happens. So most households only have 3 curbside bins: paper, trash, and green waste. But there are a lot more items which need to be disposed elsewhere. And usually those items just end up in the trash due to a lack of information about recycling. And that's where we come in. We are My Recycler, and we hope to save the earth one search at a time. And now let the rest of my amazing team introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Pranay Banka, and I'm in charge of marketing.
I'm Anjika, and I'm in charge of branding. I'm Rebecca, and I'm project manager.
I'm Shrikar, and I'm in charge of design.
And we were very lucky to have 4 helpful advisors. So the big question that everybody has is, where do we recycle items such as the ones pictured here? And the people who ask this question usually are very confused as to where to throw these specific items. And this is extremely discouraging for people who are trying their best to recycle. According to Rubicon, which is a global recycling company, 9 out of 10 people really want to recycle, but they also think that recycling is way too difficult. So we wanted to act on this statistic from Rubicon. So as part of our market research, we posted this question on Nextdoor, a neighborhood social media. And with the 70+ answers we got back, the unifying idea behind all the answers was that mixed material items, infrequently encountered items, and daily items cause people to have the most confusion. So My Recycler is a solution to everyone's confusion. It's an app where users can search or scan items to learn where to dispose of them. And My Recycler provides accurate and verified answers, is scalable to serve all US users, and allows users to add locations to extend our knowledge base. And Shrikar will be showing off all of these features in the demo. The rest of the ecosystem consists of our customers, our users, and our partners. Our customers are recycling companies, such as Republic Services. Our users are environmentally conscious people, and our partners are environmentally friendly companies and local ancillary industries. 2 examples are Sprouts and Starbucks. And now I'm going to pass it off to Shrikar for the demo.
All right, thank you, Mansi. So this is our apps login screen, and let's get into it. So on the top left, you can see your reward section, and you only have 500 coins currently. On the top right, just a small profile blur of yourself. And here is your location. And this is determined by your location services. So your app's gonna act according to their specific set of rules and regulations for recycling. And this is the text search, scan object, and redeem tabs, the 3 most important aspects of our app. And on the bottom, you have our partners and sponsors and some ads. So going to text search, I already pre-typed in batteries, which is a household item. So it gives me 5 different locations where I can get rid of this item. And let's say I would like to go to Target. I click on Target, it gives me the address and the blur of the map. Now let's say you want to take a photo of an item instead. Click scan object, here I got a shoe out. I'll take a photo, and here again, it gives me 5 different locations where I can recycle. I click one location, then I can go ahead and recycle it there. Now let's say you want to take a photo of another item. Hit the camera button again, here I got a pizza box. Same procedure, take a photo. And in this case, I don't need to go anywhere to actually specifically recycle this. So just tell me, throw a pizza box in the compost bin at your home. Now going on to the redeem section. This plus button is only for purposes of the demo, so the user cannot see this. But as you can see, the more points I start getting, more rewards start opening up. So that's how it works. And one final neat feature in our app is, let's say you have a friend located in Portland, Oregon that needs your help. You can override a GPS location by clicking the location services and type in the place, so Portland, Oregon, and now your app's going to function according to Portland, Oregon set of rules and regulation for recycling. And once you sign out, you have your sign up screen with some basic information about yourself, a forgot password tab, and you can sign in with Google or with Facebook. So like I mentioned, we integrated gamification. On the left side are some different ways you can earn coins, and on the right side are some rewards that you can get with your coins. And now I'll give it back to Mansi.
Thank you, Shrikar. So on to our user journey. It begins with a promotion of My Recycler on various outlets. The app is free and provides rewards, which are the ones Shrikar just talked about. So when a person out there is looking for help on recycling, they're going to start using MyRecycler. And after being satisfied with its results, they're going to recommend it to their friends. Now onto our product vision. It begins with the deployment of MyRecycler. We will collect users' demographic and recycling habit data. And then we plan to generate revenue by monetizing the data and creating social awareness in communities. Ritvik will be explaining our plan for this further. But now onto Anjika for the competition analysis.
Thank you. So we have chosen 3 competitors, Recycleware, EcoScan, and What Goes Where. They all tell you where your items should be thrown away, and they have services in local counties and cities. However, they're missing very important features. For example, Recycleware and What Goes Where are available in Alameda and Monterey County, but there's no motivation for the user to use their app or website again. EcoScan has an image scanner, but it does not have gamification. So let's take a closer look at our competition. So we have listed features that we compete better with, and we score them out of 4. A user expandable knowledge base is an important feature that only we have, and this knowledge base informs users on how to recycle properly. This also means that less items will end up in the landfill. We have verified our information by talking to many different possible users, and we believe this will make us the most knowledgeable and engaging app. Now Pranay will talk about our product market fit.
Thank you, Anjika. Now onto the product market fit. How exactly do we benefit our users and our customers? Well, our app is easy to use and intuitive, which through our image scanner. It also helps save the environment, which our users have an entitlement to do so. Lastly, it's available anywhere in the USA, unlike some of our competition. As for our customers, we save them time and money by sorting out what goes in the recycling bin and what belongs in the trash way before they have to, which saves a lot of resources. We also improve their brand image as they seem more environmentally friendly. As for the business model, as you can see, our ecosystem is right here. We're going to be getting money from our customers and our partners. So the money coming from our customers will initially be 2% of their yearly savings by using our app. But as time goes on and as we get more users, this number will slowly increase to 10%. As for our partners, the money will be through ad revenue, and our users will end up paying nothing. Now, onto the market analysis. Our target market is environmentally minded people who live in the US, and our market size is $60.4 million. This was calculated through a Pew Research statistic, which stated that 20% of US adults, which is 41.8 million people, were environmentally conscious. Now, Ritvika will talk about the progress timeline.
Thank you, Pranay. So this is our progress timeline. From October to December, we worked on developing our idea and conducted market research. Then from December until March, we worked on developing our pitch and a wireframe for our app. Currently, we are incorporating changes to our pitch, and we hope to soon begin developing MyRecycler. We are aiming for MyRecycler as a final product to be completed by December. We hope that this product will help our planet and reduce the amount of recycling that finds its way into our landfills. Now on to Ritvik for finances.
Thank you, Em. Now onto our year 1 revenue estimation. These steps show how we calculated our revenue for our first year. After some research, we found out that 60 pounds of trash is generated by each household per month. If 1/3 of that trash can be sorted correctly with the help of MyRecycler, it would save $648,000 for the recycling companies, assuming we have 15,000 households using our app during the first year. If recycling companies pay us 2% of their savings as our revenue in our first year, which is $12,960, plus our 3 other streams of revenue, would make a total revenue of about $18,000. As the number of households using our app increases, we expect all 4 streams of revenue to grow exponentially. As our revenue grows, we'll be asking for up to 10% of the recycling company savings. Now onto our P&L. As you can see, our revenue will grow exponentially after year 2. Our COGS are resources for software development and building of the knowledge base. Our major operating expenses consist of cloud licenses, databases, and marketing promotions. Now onto our key risks. These are our top 3 risks. Number 1, to speed up user adoption, we plan to purchase more user data and use aggressive direct marketing to entice more users. Number 2, we will improve our app performance, deploy the backend infrastructure in the cloud to improve high availability, and periodically tune up the knowledge base for faster data retrieval. Number 3, we'll continue to enhance our product. We'll be open to partner with bigger competitions and share resources to reduce costs. Now onto our ask. We need $450,000 to pay for the following expenses over the next 3 years. Thank you for listening to our pitch. We are now open to questions.
Thank you, team. This was a great presentation. Thank you all for looking at such a common problem with a very unique, very different perspective.
Thank you.
You all had a time of 9 minutes and 45 seconds. With that, judges, please do fire away your questions. I request Shashi to please moderate the Q&A session.
Great. I started last time. Does anyone else have a question to start out with?
I have a question. This is Charu. Hi. So my question is, how did you go from identifying the larger problem to a more focused solution? What was that process like?
I can take this question. So I know in my family, we have a lot of trouble figuring out where the mixed material items go and some of those unique items like batteries. So as you know, batteries shouldn't go in the recycling bin or the trash can. They should be taken to a special drop-off location. So I think the problem that we identified was the same one, like from the beginning. I don't think we really narrowed it down all too much. We just wanted to solve this problem that a lot of people have and that we identified using our next door research. And that problem is that most people don't know where to throw these very unique items, so they just end up throwing them in the trash, and that takes up a lot of landfill space.
Thank you for your presentation. I really like that you're tackling such a big problem that's relevant to our world today. I think this is great. One of the things that I think is really interesting is great ideas really come together when two old ideas meet for the first time. And I'm wondering, as you've looked at all these competitors and people who have tried to do this before, what's the biggest opportunity that you've noticed or the biggest problem that exists with these other apps that you think you can really differentiate on here if you had to pick like one or two main things?
Okay, I'm gonna let Anjika answer this question. Anjika, let me know if there's a specific slide you want me to scroll back to.
So we're different than our competition because we have a user expandable knowledge base. And what this means is people using our app can add in their own information to grow our base.
Thank you.
One of the things we try to learn is what you learned as a team to pivot. Can you share with us a little bit of how the idea may have morphed?
So I can take this question. So at the beginning, we were kind of thinking about a few different solutions to how we could solve this common problem that people have. I know Mridvika in the beginning had an idea of creating a smart trash can. Mridvika, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually first I thought it'd be kind of inconvenient for people to go out of their way and try going out of their house. So I thought we could we could make a different type of trash can that you can just place it in there, and then later the trucks can come pick it up. But then when thinking about it a little more, we found that it'd actually be better and it'd be more helpful to the community if we actually went and found a way to like give if we found like it'd be helpful for recycling companies if we actually went and just gave it to them instead of having them come pick it up from like every other household or every household. So that's why we actually came up with My Recycler instead of the smart trash can.
Did any of your customer discovery inform that set of changes at all? Not just the ones you mentioned, but in general?
So in our next door question, I can take this question, or if you want, you can add something after I see my answer. So in our next door question that we asked, a few people had different ideas, and when we mentioned the smart trash can, they liked it, but some people had some concerns about how affordable it would be. So I think the solution that we chose to have a search, a image search and a text search option on an app is the most convenient and affordable since it's free for most people to use. Mridvika, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you summed it up nicely. Thank you.
Good. Back to session.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I had a question about how the partners are using your app and how they interact with your system. First of all, do they interact with any part of the app? And if so, what is it? And what is their part in all of this?
Okay, so let me field this question to Pranay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, what role do your partners play in the app, if any?
So basically our partners are local ancillary industries such as Starbucks and Sprouts. And as Shrikar showed in the demo, they provide the rewards such as a free Starbucks drink or a Home Depot plant. And additionally, they help fund us in return for ad. And most of our partners have these like environmental programs where they fund these types of apps and other businesses.
Okay, so they'll be providing drop-off points in addition to monetary incentive. Is that right? Okay. And one of the things in my experience is that recycling points change frequently in what they'll take and what they'll and the condition that they want it in. How have you addressed that in here?
So this is where our user expandable knowledge base comes in. So our users will actually be inputting in where these locations are daily to daily. And this is incentivized through our gamification system. So our knowledge base will receive answers from our users in return for coins. So this will ensure that the recycling locations are accurate.
All right. Judges, any other questions?
Any thoughts on integrating with Alexa, Google Home, etc.? Did the team give any consideration?
We haven't thought about that yet, but that's a really good suggestion. We'll take that into account.
Along those lines, have you also looked at providing the data from the app into to people who are actively recycling these things? Like there's people who actively go around and scrap metal and other things like that. They'll pay for this information.
We were, I think on one of our slides, we talked about monetizing the data. So yeah, we could go into that as well for like recycling collections, like door-to-door recycling collection.
Judges, I think we have crossed our Q&A time, so we would probably want to stop there. My recycler, thank you for a great presentation. Thank you for very detailed answers to these questions. Please put your cameras off. Please put yourselves on mute. I would now want to invite Team Buzz. Please put your cameras on. We are excited for your presentation.
Karan, if you can give us about 3 minutes so we can put some good notes together. I was still writing when this last team started, and maybe you get them to sing or dance or something in between. We'll see all the skills that you really taught them.
We still need a minute or two to bring everyone from attendee to panelists, so you still have some time.
Thank you.
The one thing I want to add is there are a lot of great questions from the audience. So the teams, please feel free. There is no wrong answer. Please feel free to answer those questions in a real world. These are your customers and these are your investors. So please go ahead and answer those questions as this actually go on. But great job.
So Buzz, you can go ahead and share your screen as well.
Great, so should we begin?
Manish, whenever you are ready, I will start your timer.
Hey,
sure.
Hey, Karan. I don't know if 3 minutes is over yet. Paul actually asked us for some time. Maybe we'll hold until we get a go ahead.
Yeah, and maybe what you could do is ask one of the questions. Oh, I guess the team's off already, so sorry about that. You just want to make sure that for all the work these teams did, we give them some good feedback. So ask the audience members for your indulgence and patience.
Definitely. While we're waiting, Manish, what is that planet behind you? Is that Uranus? Is that Neptune? Is that Earth? What planet is that?
I'm pretty sure it's Earth.
Okay.
I know I'm done, so I don't know about the others.
Yeah, I'm done as well. I can move on.
Same, done.
We'll just wait for.
I'm ready as well.
Thanks for the patience for this team to get ready. We're absolutely ready for you.
Okay, team members, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start then. So, how many of you have recently bought clothing from a small fashion designer? Very few, and there are reasons for this. There could be lack of trust with the brand or unfamiliarity. Regardless, many seem to be hesitant purchasing clothing from these smaller fashion designers. Moreover, you see your friends wearing Macy's, Nike, Hollister, but you want to be different, unique. Where do you go? There's this huge world out there that many shoppers do not know of. And this horizon of clothing is blocked by skepticism and doubt. That's where we come in. We focus on showcasing this huge world of small fashion designers and brands who create great products. We are Buzz. But first, let me introduce you to the team. I'm Manish Moti, CEO and Head of Marketing.
I'm Akshat Saranani, I'm Head of Technology.
I'm Pulash Agarwal, Head of Finance.
And I'm Abhinav Sethuraman, Head of Design.
And together we make Buzz. So, fashion design has become highly competitive today. Many are great at creating clothing, not so much at marketing themselves. When you attend a fashion school, you're taught to design, but what's more important is how you market the product. It's said that with no sales, with no customers, there's no sales. Research shows most small fashion designers are unable to compete in this competitive landscape due to lack of marketing and website management skills. In addition to this, many shoppers are simply too hesitant to purchase small fashion designers' clothing. It's not ideal risking $40 on a shirt you saw. You don't know if it'll fit or if it's up to your expectations. In fact, a huge amount of online shoppers have this issue. According to CNBC, 40% of all online clothing gets returned. We strive to solve this problem of uncertainty for the shopper and designer. Our solution is Buzz, a social media shopping platform that allows shoppers to connect with small fashion designers, presenting a larger spectrum of different styles of clothing. We showcase small, unknown fashion designers to shoppers who want to look unique at a safe, affordable price point. Say you're not sure whether the clothing's up to your expectations. Simply trial it. Just need it for a special occasion? Rent it out for larger timeframes. There is so much potential with so many small fashion designers, many do not know. And now we open the gate to go out and venture to these small brands. Additionally, our app integrates user comfortability. We have simplified the process for the designer to where we are in charge of fulfilling payments and we do their online marketing, something many struggle to do effectively. With it, we provide an affordable experience for many frequent shoppers to find new dresses, as well as to help smaller fashion designers to get recognized for the quality of their work. Now I'll pass it over to Akshay, who will present our prototype.
For our prototype, we've built a small example of what we envision the app to be. Based off of a beat theme, it has a sign-up screen where you can enter your email and password and sign in. Once inside, you would be greeted with this home screen, with a variety of different posts based off of your recent searches and purchases. Next is our shop, where you can look through our database to find a clothing that suits you, your style, or your personality. And once you've found said clothing, you can move over to checkout, where you can buy it, rent it, or look at other similar items. Next is our search engine, where you can not only just look for clothing, but for consumers and fashion designers as well. The reasoning for that becomes clear in our messaging system, where you can share any clothing that you love to wear and you try to recommend to your friends, or you can ask a fashion designer if they have something in stock or if they want to change a design. Finally is our profile, where you can view your purchase history and edit your login information. I'll be handing it over to Manish for the interview results.
Okay, so to evaluate our solution, we conducted several interviews. When we first started out, we focused primarily on online shoppers. After interviewing 40 of them, we found that of the 2/3 who were interested, 70% were female. We then conducted a more in-depth interview focusing specifically on females and found that around 68% of the 31 women who were interested were between the ages of 15 to 26. Some problems many stated was the uncertainty of online shopping. They all agreed that clothing is portrayed differently online than in store. Factors such as size, material, and quality could not be felt through a screen. Our trial feature combats this issue, giving shoppers the opportunity to try the clothing before purchase. Moreover, to see if fashion designers had these same issues we found online, we interviewed 10 of them and found that all of them had the same issue, that being a website management and marketing themselves out. This was mainly caused due to lack of funds when first starting out. Due to this, they were all interested in this concept. Now I'll be handing it over to Palash, who will introduce how we work.
We've greatly simplified the life of a designer. Now there's no worry about selling or promoting. We email them a shipping label in a box. All they have to do is put the clothing in the box, slap the label on, and call UPS to pick it up. Depending on the order, the shopper stores the contents back in the box and ships it back to the designer. If the contents are damaged, a full price will be paid and shipped back to the buyer. This process eliminates space needed to store the inventory, reduce expenses on staff, and costs of owning larger facilities. The market we're focusing on are young female shoppers aged 15 through 26, who have a statistically bigger likelihood of buying fashion designer clothing. We're also going to be targeting small fashion designers or brands who need that little boost of fame. There are about 26,000 fashion designers, and there are about 30 million females aged 15 through 24 who shop unique brands online in the US. Based on these statistics, we found the total market size to be $14.5 billion. So how are we going to make our money? Well, we'll mainly depend on sales revenue from trials, rents, and purchases. For every purchase, we take a 6% commission, and for every trial or rental, we take a 25% commission. Currently, we have a premium service for shoppers at $7.99 a month. We also generate revenue through ads appearing through hexagon boxes in the feed. In year 2 of post-market launch, after acquiring a facility and staff, we'll announce a subscription service for the fashion designer that has us do the social media marketing for them. This will be $24.99 a month, affordable for online marketing. Now I'll be handing it over to Akshay, who will describe the differences between the premium and the free version of our app.
So what's the difference between our freemium and premium models? Well, for the shopper, they would receive a 20% base discount on all rentals. Additionally, if a shopper trialed clothing and later wanted to purchase the clothing, the trial would have been granted free. However, shipping would still be paid. When we plan to launch our premium service to fashion designers, this will produce a much more cost-efficient way of promoting work. With it, we do the social media marketing for them, fixing an issue that many small designers face. They would get prioritized on feeds and are more likely to appear in recommendations than other freemium users. As for our market strategy, we're relying on 3 ways to market our app: partnerships, promotional campaigns, and benefits to our consumers. Currently, we are reaching out to small, talented fashion designers in the US. We found the clothing brand Zilvana, situated in Silicon Valley, who would be willing to post clothing onto our app once out to the public. We will also be marketing our apps in ways such as ads and offer benefits to our consumers. New fashion designers would get a 1-month half commission and are more likely to get featured in the feed. New shoppers would get a 1-month free trial to get them hooked to that premium service early on. One way we would acquire free advertising is through #BuzzIt, where a shopper or a designer would post a picture of themselves with the clothing that they bought, rented, or tried from Buzz, with the caption #BuzzIt. We'll be offering some sort of grand prize from our sales revenue. So I'll pass it over to Abhinav for our competitors.
Thank you. So who are our competitors? We face Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. These apps are social media platforms that allow designers to showcase their work and are used primarily for marketing their clothing. In our market position, we combine affordability with comfortability, factors that appeal to many smaller fashion designers. Although other platforms give full ownership to designers, this can be challenging as they are now in charge of marketing their clothing, fulfilling orders, and managing space. That's where we come in. We take care of the most tedious tasks, giving designers a comfortable, affordable solution. Moreover, all of these platforms operate via ads, which means that the more money you have, the more publicity you gain. And this is not ideal for a small fashion designer. For example, on Instagram, to promote for 6 days, it reaches for 77,000 people, it already costs the price of our yearly subscription. We focus on minimizing costs while still bringing them out to the community, being a more desirable fit for small fashion designers than our competitors.
These are our financial projections for the next 4 years. Year 0 will be pre-market launch, having a $100,000 net loss by the end of the year. Year 3 will be when we rent a viable working space, therefore significantly increasing our expenses. After the 4th year post-market launch, we will amass $830,000.
Our timeline consists of 6 events leading to our market launch. During this time, because of the current situation of coronavirus, investors are less likely to fund us, so we are moving fundraising back to December 1st, 2020. On June 10th, 2021, we will have a full market launch. And that brings us to where we ask for $120,000 to get our app into the state of full market launch. This will cover the costs for year 0 and 1 being used for app development, staff salaries, and app marketing.
Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Thank you guys for a great presentation. I want to just give you all your time. It was 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Judges, please fire across all your questions. We are ready for you. Paul, if you could please moderate this session, that would be super helpful.
Great. We'll do ladies first, as it should be. So either Charu or Fatima first, please.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I absolutely love the idea, and I think you did a great job presenting it. This reminds me a lot about Airbnb in the way that you're enabling people to monetize either their skills in this case. One thing that was big for Airbnb was supporting the hosts by providing photographers to take pictures of their houses and their apartments to post them on the platform. What can you do in addition to the things that you mentioned already to really just like enhance the way these designers are able to market their products?
Well, like unlike other competitors, we find we boast for an easier way of marketing. So in year 2 of our pre-market, after our market launch, we plan on introducing a way of having us do the marketing for them, which allows them to be featured more on feeds and be prioritized for other competitors. But the main thing with this is that the marketing cost is fixed for everyone. So bigger companies like our other fashion designers who can afford more, they would still have to pay the same amount as a smaller fashion designer, which is only $300 per year, which is much more cheaper than other alternatives of social marketing. And so they get the same amount of marketing as, say, a smaller fashion designer would. So this gives like equality to a lot of smaller fashion designers.
Thank you.
I've got a question. So on your competitor slide, I saw Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and these 3 companies required a lot of money and a lot of luck to build these vast consumer bases, right? And so it makes a lot of sense to me why fashion designers would want to come and have you do the marketing. But help me understand, how will you build out this subscribership of consumers who would want to buy from them?
So as we mentioned, our target market is specifically to young females who have a more like likely chance to buy new designer clothing. So we're marketing to smaller fashion designers many do not know of. And so for many online shoppers who want to have like a unique clothing, like they could go to our app, as we focus primarily on smaller fashion designers. So say you look at your friends, they're wearing like generic clothing like Under Armour or Nike, but you want to look different and like unique. So where do you go for that matter? Our app boasts for smaller fashion designers, introducing a more like diverse spectrum of clothing, which many other brands do not offer.
Okay, Sashi, you want to go next? You may be on mute.
Of course. So sorry about that. I have a comment and a question. So the comment was about the competitors. It seems like there's other competition out there that you're maybe you should look at. So for example, I bought this shirt on Stitch Fix, and it was a way for a designer to comment on a look for me, and then I was able to try that out and ultimately select this. So I would suggest looking at other options out there for people who want to be in this fashion industry. The second was around the services that you're providing. So you spend a lot of time on the shipping portion and the promotion portion. There's a neat little diagram that you had there about shipping labels, which I really liked. Fulfillment is hard though. How do you guarantee that the designers who's already having trouble with things that are not design related can do and manage the volume of shipping that you may be giving to them?
So their consumer base, they don't have as much customers as other more popular designers. So they do ship clothing out manually by hand. So basically we just mail them a shipping label, and they just have to put the clothing in the box and ship it back to UPS, where we direct them to the customers.
And something you may consider then is, if the designer isn't reliable, then, if they're not shipping the things out, then that's, that's feedback that should go into your system as well.
Yes, that we would first introduce the fashion designers to like some terms and conditions when first signing on to our app, which regulates the rule of having shipping, like the shipping process.
Thanks for making it easy to understand your solution. You're essentially a marketplace between two sides of the market, right? The small fashion designer and this young, mostly female population. Help me understand why you picked young, i.e. 15 to 26, that may or may not have the dollars, but maybe it's a competitive advantage that other people don't go after. What made you all pick that?
Right. So we primarily focused it on our primary research when we interviewed around 70 shoppers generally. And through the answers they provided and the demographic, it showed that mostly younger females had this problem, and they all had the same problem of like they wanted to try new clothing, but they were too hesitant because like other options are simply just too costly. When like you're buying a $40 shirt, you don't want to, if you like the shirt, you don't want to pay $40 just to try it on and see, and then later on not knowing that you'll like it. So we provide an affordable experience for many shoppers to find new brands of clothing, which the younger demographic, it was statistically shown that they're more likely to purchase newer types of brands.
And who's bearing the cost of shipping either to the customer and or potentially somebody wants to return? Who's bearing all of that? I think this may be the last question, by the way, so you may want to spread it wherever you think is best.
Yes, the shopper pays for shipping.
Okay, good. Karan, I think you're saying that we may be at our time limit.
I think we've just crossed our 5-minute barrier. So if we have any last quick question, something that you all would want to ask, otherwise we can move on to the next team.
I have one.
Give us very quickly how what did you do to pivot as you learned what you did during customer discovery? And we appreciate your presentation.
We first focused on just online shoppers generally, but can you repeat your question again? I didn't quite get that.
How did your team pivot your solution based on what you were learning from customers or from your research?
Right. So when we first started out, we had we were solving like 3 problems, which was kind of too much. So we first had like some sort of investing feature, and then we had the ability for job applications and renting, which that was too much. So our mentors, they told us to focus on like one solution. And so we focused on having a rent system for shoppers, as well as to promote fashion designers, smaller fashion designers. So through our primary research, when we first started out, we focused, like I said, focused mainly on online shoppers. Then we found out a larger demographic of females like this type of shopping experience. And through that, we conducted a more in-depth interview and found that a younger audience is more likely to buy into our idea.
Great, good learning, and it made the solution very easy to understand. By the way, all of you look like y'all have been shopping on Buzz already. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. If y'all would like a couple minutes, judges, to just put down your thoughts, any sort of feedback. I have a question from the audience. Our Q&A feed is exploding. We have a couple of questions. I'm going to choose one. Do you think you can actually partner with Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, considering that they are a form of competition? So if you could talk a little bit about what your partnership strategy will be and how you would include your competition as a peer rather than a competitor.
Well, we're sort of more of an idle business. Like we focused, like I said, we focused on fulfilling payments and online marketing, which gives smaller fashion designers a more of an incentive to join our platform. But we're not regulating it just to our platform. This can be for, we can have fashion designers post on Facebook and Instagram, and this could be just like an additional platform, especially towards like if they're targeting a specific demographic, which is that being younger females who are interested in this clothing, it would be more likely to come into our app where we also make the life of a fashion designer easier. So yeah, that would give more of an incentive to just join our app.
Perfect. Thanks, Manish. I think with that, we would want to end your presentation. Thank you for a great pitch, and thank you for great responses to the Q&A session. Please put your cameras off. Please put your mics off. And can members of Team Autoschedule raise your hands? Nihar will be adding you all to the panel.
And while that is happening, right, Karan, we just want to let Nabil and Patrick know that we are maybe 10 minutes running late for the panel.
Yep.
Karan, I'm done, and looks like Sashi may be done. So we can poll the judges just to make sure.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So Team Autoschedule, Rohan, I see you. So I would want you to give me an indication whenever you are ready. Whenever your team is ready, I will start your timer. Just to be sure, you'll have 10 minutes for the pitch.
So don't forget to share your screen as well.
Yeah, I think Pranav is going to share his screen. Yeah. Okay, we should be ready now.
All right. Rohan, I'm ready whenever y'all are. So if you're not speaking, we'll start the time. No problem.
Okay. So we all spend a lot of time planning when and where we meet up with friends. For only us three on the team, it can take a lot of effort, but when you take into account 4, 5, or 6 people, it can really become a nightmare. So this was the idea behind Autoschedule, planning events smarter.
I'm Pranav. I'm the CEO and head of technology.
I'm Tara, and I'm in charge of marketing.
I'm Rohan, and I'm in charge of finance.
So as you can see from this table, it's very hard to schedule events efficiently with friends, and this data was taken from our own experiences. It can often take dozens of texts. Even bigger of a problem can be the time taken from start to finish of planning. We noticed that conversation topics change quickly in group messages, so the problem of time taken is an even bigger problem. From our survey, we saw similar results, with the majority responding that it takes 2 to 6 days for them to plan an event. We surveyed 106 teens and we found that they all use some kind of texting to plan outings, but they find this to be highly inefficient. From our survey, we found that 70% of them use some type of calendar planning app in their daily lives. However, they haven't found a group planning app that everyone involved can agree on. And now I'm going to hand it over to Rohan to talk about our solution.
Our solution to this problem was to create an app that teens could use to plan social events. Our app will do this by syncing each individual's calendar apps that they already use, such as Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, and find time slots that work for everyone. After our initial market research, we saw that some teens don't even use a calendar app. So we decided to add a calendar app in our app that teens can use if they don't already use some kind of calendar. And then we did a simulation with a group of 6 to plan like a fake event. And with texting, it took 2 hours and 18 minutes and 23 messages. And with our app, it took 11 minutes and 0 messages. Now Pranav is going to show us how exactly our app works.
All right, so the first screen that the user will be shown is the login screen. And here, as you can see, you can sign in with Google. And when you sign in with Google, what this does is it'll automatically ask you for permission to access your calendar. And this way, the user can link times to the app using their calendar already. So let's say I'm planning an event with Justin and Tara. So the first screen that'll come up is this event planner screen. And you're prompted to give 3 pieces of information here. The date, which is Friday, April 25th, the duration of the event, 3 hours, and who is invited to the event. And that would be Justin and Tara. Next, the app will pull times from my calendar. So as you can see, 3 p.m., 7 p.m., and 9 p.m. And here I've decided to cancel out the 9 p.m. time. And of course, you can add custom times as well. So finally, a confirmation slide will show, and the invitation will be sent. So in this hypothetical scenario, let's say that Tara has responded to my RSVP, but Justin has not gotten around to it yet. So Justin can only see my times because as the host, I'm agreeing to put my times available to every single person who I'm sending the invite to, regardless or not whether they accept the event. So Justin cannot see Tara's times because Tara has not agreed to show her times to everyone, but people who have already accepted the event. So here, Justin can accept, decline, send a message within the app, or mark it as a maybe. So finally, the app will select times based on who has the amount of people that have okayed the time. So as you can see, 3 p.m. is the best time here, followed by 7 p.m. And then 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. are not great times. And the app will finally allow you to add the event back to your calendar so that everything is centralized and the user is organized. So now I want to talk about the value proposition. So we really want to target towards teens and integrate with apps that teens already use, such as Facebook Messenger and Apple iMessage. We want to become a common name among friend groups so that whenever they're planning with these apps such as iMessage and Messenger that they've already used to plan events just inefficiently, we want to become a common name so that they can use our app to plan events faster. And apps that do similar things to what we're doing are Calendly and Doodle. And even though we have many of the same features that Calendly and Doodle do, we want to attack our market like Discord does versus Slack. So Slack is, I'm sure judges, you know, an enterprise management app where people in a company can text in different channels to organize their work. So Discord has a lot of the same features as Slack, but completely differs from it because they target a different market, casual gamers and people of casual sort, while Slack targets to work-based environments. So we want to do just the same. As you can see from our survey, 98% of people either do not use Calendly for your Doodle or have never even heard of it. So we have quite a big market. Now I'm going to hand it off to Tara to explain market dynamics.
So we looked for group planning apps and we found 3 of them. Each of these have certain good aspects about them, but they're also lacking in some aspect that we deem to be important to teens. As you can see from this positioning graph, while there are apps like Doodle, which are used in corporate work-based environment, we really want to target teens who want casual scheduling. This is why the integration with an already existing messaging app that teens are pretty comfortable with would be valued and unique in this situation. We plan to find our first users by reaching out to members of our own schools and in groups like sports, theater, and choir groups. We already know that these groups are kind of inbuilt and already plan events outside of school, so it wouldn't be too much of a reach to ask them to try a new app. We would show a few people in each group how to use it so that they would be comfortable introducing it to the rest of the group. And realistically, this method would probably reach around 40 to 50 users per school. We would then receive feedback and modify our app. Our next steps in the marketing department would be to expand to middle schoolers, because these days most middle schoolers already have phones and are pretty comfortable with mobile apps. It would be a pretty easy transition to make. We would also plan to integrate it with more apps like Discord and other messaging services. One risk that our app does have is that some teens don't have a calendar app, so we're planning to work around this by implementing an optional in-app calendars that users can use to click through times where they are or are not available. Another risk is that when we first introduce it, people won't know what our app does. So to kind of solve this, we would ask for ambassadors from local high schools to promote our app. In return, for every 5 people they bring in, they would receive 1 month of our premium service free. We're also going to create social media accounts on Instagram and Facebook to promote our product and use the boost feature to get a wider reach. And now I'm going to hand it off to Rohan to talk about our business model.
So our business model is going to be a freemium model. And this free version is going to have some sort of ad revenue. And our ads are going to be targeted towards teens, like this Jamba Juice ad and this Boba Tea ad you can see. And these are like places that teens already like to hang out. So in the future, we might want to have some sort of partnerships with like Jamba Juice or other places that teens like to hang out, where we're like advertising their place and they give us some sort of payment. And then we're going to have our premium version, which will be $5 a month, and will have no limitation on how many people are allowed in a group. It'll have no ads, and it'll also have more premium features, like it'll suggest where you guys can meet up, it'll suggest movie times, and it'll also have an importance feature. So if it's someone's birthday and you guys are planning a birthday party, then the times that the person whose birthday it is will matter more than the other people's times. Our target customer is around 70% of high school students, because from our Google survey, 75% were actually interested in this product. And so we're going to start with 20 high schools in the first year. So that's 35,000 potential users. And we're going to get the first 10,000 users by paid marketing on social media accounts, which will bootstrap our user base. And then they're going to do the organic marketing for us by inviting more and more friends by phone number, which will get us the rest of the 25,000 users. Then we're going to move to 100 high schools and 400 high schools. Yeah, and then this is our financial table. And our users and the premium percentage is all based on the slide before. And our operating expenses are 2 main engineers, which will hire more as the years go on. It's office space, running the app on iOS and Android servers, and any kind of permits or licenses that we're going to need. And the marketing costs, after some research, I found that it takes around $3 to get each user from paid advertisements. So that's what the marketing costs are based on. And so we're gonna need 200,000 in the first year, which will spend all of it in the first year to actually develop the whole app and get us to 35,000 users. And then we'll get all the money back and start making profit by our second year and start turning huge profits by our third year. And we need to have 5% of our users to be premium users, which we think is extremely possible, because from our survey, 11% actually said that they would consider paying for the premium version. Thank you for listening.
Thank you guys for a great presentation. Your time was 9 minutes and 47 seconds.
Oh.
Judges, please fire and shoot your questions. Paul, please moderate. I think this was a great presentation. I am curious to know what you all have in mind.
Sounds good. This time, Sashi, we'll start with you.
Fantastic. First of all, let me just preface this by saying this is an app that I would use, because I manage 5 different calendars. And I think it's really interesting that you actually did a simulation. So can you talk about what that simulation was like, and what were the key insights that came from it?
So in terms of a simulation, what we did was, since we don't have like a working product and everything that we've shown you is like a wireframe, what we did was we went through many of our group chats and messages to find, if I go back to the slide, then I think it'll make a bit more sense. So we went through a bunch of our group chats as a group, and we found like an average time that it took to plan events. And using our wireframe then with a group of friends, we basically found like the most realistic time. So in reality, this is more of a model.
Okay. Did you, just to follow on then, did you actually sit down with people in the simulation and then, figured out using the wireframes between the 2 or 3 of you, how fast you could come to an agreement?
Yeah,
Right,
and that's
so
what the
kind
11
of-
minutes is based on. I think
Yeah,
Tara.
it was kind of like the amount of round trips that the app needed to take in order to plan the event.
Great. Fatima or Charu, whoever wants to go next.
Sure, this is really great. To echo Shashi, I think this is definitely something I would use. With people being very sensitive about sharing access to their calendars or their email, did you do any research to see if people would be willing to share data from their calendars if this value would be available to them?
So well, in like I explained in this slide, when someone when someone connects their calendar to the app, the app they have options to kind of like make these times private or like add their own custom times so that other people in this event like can't like really see what's going on. And as far as the app knowing what like calendar like what times and like the calendar availability of the people using it, we really haven't done any like substantial research on whether or not they would be willing to connect their calendars to this app.
To add on to that, so the app won't show like their whole calendar. It's only really going to show like the times that they want to actually hang out with like their friends. So like their whole calendar is still going to stay anonymous.
Thank you.
Charu, you're up.
Yes. So on a slightly pessimistic note. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So my last company had a mentorship software that we sold to enterprise companies. Like, sorry, just clarifying. Did I, or can you hear me?
The audio is a bit distorted. It's
Yeah,
Let me
if you
try
think
closing
you
my
can turn
video.
off the video and then.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. So I know you have limited time. I'll try to keep this brief. But basically, my last company was a mentoring software, and we sold it to companies like Coca-Cola, Lyft, etc., for their employees to connect with each other for mentorship. And part of that was basically auto schedule, where we integrated with their calendars, we pulled the times, we showed them the times, we suggested locations, etc. And all of them have calendars, and we could integrate with all of their calendars. The problem with nobody used it because people don't like to change their workflow habits, right? And so my question is, how do you know that people will actually use it? People say they want a lot of things, but when you give it to them, they don't necessarily adopt it. And then especially, why will they pay for it? And I have some suggestions, but I'll put it later in the feedback section.
So we want to kind of organically kind of like bring them across to our app, and we want to, like I said, we want to integrate with apps that they already use. So as kids, we know that we use iMessages, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and these types of apps to plan events already. So if we could add our app as kind of like a widget or an add-on to these already existing group chats and softwares, then we could I think it would be way easier for people to kind of change their workflow so that they can use this app.
Right, to kind of add on to that, that's why we are prioritizing the connection to the already existing messaging apps, because we know how important it is for people to kind of change, if they are making a change, to make it gradual and organic. So if by integrating with the messages and iMessages that they're already familiar with, we think that the transition would be a lot smoother.
I have another quick question. Do you have any thoughts on what the next step of the app would be? So for example, do you want to do something beyond scheduling? Or it's okay if you haven't thought about this yet.
I can kind of answer this. So like we want to actually have like partnerships with like I mentioned like Jamba Juice or like a boba place. So like this is also like answering why people will want to pay for it. So maybe like if they pay for it and like all the friends meet up at like a Jamba Juice, then maybe like all of them will get like a $1 off discount on their drink, or like we have to work that out with like obviously some other companies, but that's something we hope to do in the future.
Great, thanks.
Can you help us understand a little bit, not with great depth, how you will incentivize the ambassadors, which is really your form of marketing, to in turn, really spread this among high schoolers, because that's your segmented market?
Yeah, I think I can talk about that. But the ambassadors will, for every 5 people they bring in, they're going to get 1 month of the premium free. So this is kind of based off of a lot of smaller, or like, for example, clothing companies oftentimes will have ambassadors where they'll have like codes. But basically our form of marketing would be through other teens, and their incentive would be our premium service.
Did you consider not just bringing somebody on, but really having some usage? Because bringing somebody on is just a starting point. You want to get deep users, right?
Yeah. So maybe like we could actually have them invite like their friends to like a group where they're gonna go hang out, so that they actually use the app instead of just inviting them to download the app. That's a good idea.
Is your competition? I'm sorry, Karan.
Paul, I'm sorry, we need to have that as our last question because we've gone over 7 minutes now.
Well, obviously we like their topic and we like their app.
I understand, but I know you all would also need a couple minutes to put in your feedback. We have a question from the audience. So if you permit, I will redirect their attention to that.
Please go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback.
So Team Auto Schedule, thanks for a great presentation. We've got a question from an audience member, and I'm just going to read it out to you guys. Feel free to.
Actually, Karan, since we are running a bit short on time with the panelists, we're going to skip audience Q&A questions and go directly into the panel.
Sure. Thank you so much, Team Auto Schedule. You guys were fantastic. Thanks for a great presentation and for fantastic responses to the questions I got. Please put your cameras off. Please put yourselves on mute and enjoy the panel. Yeah, I would want to invite you to come and take center stage. I know everyone is looking forward to hearing from Patrick. Please.
Great.
Next is Priya.
Thank you so much, Karan. I'm going to try. I speak very fast, so this works in my favor this time. We have only 13 minutes with Patrick, but I might borrow 5 minutes of extra time from Nabil because I did commit to them that I would wrap at 4 and they have other kind of commitments. With that said, I'm going to dive right in. Patrick is a great friend of mine. Nabil, we're going to be best friends soon as well. But I think thank you so much, both of you, for taking time on a weekend. With this group, I don't know when you guys joined, but I've been through the whole thing, obviously, from the start of this program. And I'm extremely proud of all 4 teams that presented. They started with almost like not knowing anyone in their teams to presenting as a cohesive unit today. From an idea they started like just 3 months, or I would say less than 2 months ago, to today, kind of putting it all together. And this is not possible without the TYE team, especially Shri, Shivani, and the rest of the team. So thank you all. Thank you, Patrick and Nabil. We're going to jump right in. Patrick, maybe give us a little bit of intro, just your background. You have amazing stories to tell, and a bit of X-Fund as well. And why are you so vested in entrepreneurship, especially at the university segment?
Yeah, thank you so much, Priya. Hi, everyone. So nice to be with you today. So for about 10 years, I was head of the consumer investment practice at NEA. NEA is the largest venture capital firm in the nation, about $27 billion under management. And I founded and ran the seed stage investing practice. And the seed stage investing practice is the very earliest founders and companies that we invest in. And generally, for a lot of what we did, although not everything, they tended to be very young founders out of schools, universities. We had a great opportunity about 10 years ago to partner with Harvard University, Excel Partners, and NEA to found this thing that we call X Fund. X Fund is an early stage seed and Series A venture capital firm based out of universities to help young entrepreneurs in schools and universities figure out exactly what it means to start a business and then help them actually start it. And so thrilled to be with you all.
Thank you so much. Nabil, please give us a bit of intro about you and your company and what inspired you to start entrepreneurship at such a young age. And it's so relevant to all the kids that presented today and all the folks who are listening today as well.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction. I'm reading the slide. I think nation's top young investigative minds might be a little bit of a stretch, but I appreciate that. So yeah, my name is Nabil. I'm an undergrad over at Harvard. And so I think last year I took some time off from school. I got the chance to work at 23andMe, who Patrick is, he's a board member there. So got to meet him as well. And 23andMe, just to catch everybody up, it's a consumer genetics company. So it's, you spit in the tube, they'll tell you what your DNA says about you. So I had some time to work as a statistical geneticist, which basically means looking at all the data that's flowing in 23andMe's ecosystem and figuring out whether we can potentially develop some new drugs based on that data. And it was actually during my time at 23andMe, I came up with the idea for Avera. Now, Avera is a stem cell banking startup. So effectively what that means is your body is made up of 30 trillion cells, right? And these cells are mutating and dividing every single day. So effectively what the idea is being able to take one's stem cells while you're young, preserve them in a very cold temperature and basically a freezer. And then later on in life, we can do things like regenerative therapies. People are working on a whole host of these therapies, being able to utilize your younger cells to do a lot of interesting things. But I think I'm happy to kind of go into this in a little bit more detail. But one of the important things of looking at this trajectory is finding problems that you have yourself and then solving them. I think one of the things that led me to solve Avera was looking at the 23andMe ecosystem, right? Seeing that 23andMe, it tells you what you're at risk for genetically. I kind of wanted to have a product myself that would allow me to actually act on that information as well. So I'm happy to kind of dive more into more of what that actually means. But I think thinking about actually making products that you yourself would want, I think is absolutely incredible.
Right. I mean, just hearing you reminds me of all of the university founders that I deal with. It's just genius, right? Like, think about that coming out of like, such a young age. And I'm like trying to still decipher what you just said. And it's just amazing. And I think that's the power of the next generation. Patrick, to you, I get a ton of questions. I'm sure you do too. Students are like, I have this idea, I know this is what I want to do. Or is it, there's always a question of like, is this the right idea that I need to jump? I know that question is like throughout entrepreneurship, but how do they figure that out at this young age? And what are some of the tips and tricks that you've learned through the founders that has been successful to kind of identify that?
So that's such a good question, Priya, and we often get asked that. My advice to you, if you're not quite sure about the idea, is that you'll never be sure of the idea. I mean, can you imagine how many years it took for Brian Chesky to convince people that you could have a stranger sleep in your guest bedroom overnight and not have that person, wake up in the middle of the night, steal everything you own, kill you, and walk away? I mean, it was such a crazy, there were so many years where he must have just said, this is insane. What am I doing with my life? The number one correlate to success in a startup, and I believe any startup, is number one, that you actually decide to do it. So everyone listening here is so talented, has so many other options. You can get a good, well-paying job, lots of places. But very few of you will actually say, okay, against all of those more certain career paths, I'm going to strike out on my own, like Nabil has, and start a company. If you never decide to strike out and actually do it, then your chance of success are zero. But it's only when you decide to strike out and do it that you actually are in the game. Yeah. Secondly, I wouldn't fixate on the idea so much as your co-founders. There's a lot of research out there that's totally bears out in evidence that a single founder has just simply a much lower chance of success than two or more founders. Now, that's not a zero chance of success. There are many single founders who are very, very successful. But history has shown that it's just less lonely, more synergistic. You get better ideas if you've got more than one of you. And so my advice would be don't fixate on the idea so much as to fixate on the person. Find a person that maybe you did go to high school with, that you went to college with, that you grew up with, that you have deep wells of trust with. That person doesn't have to be kind of perfect on paper, like they have a perfectly complementary skill set to your own. They just have to be someone you know that you can go through thick and thin with. And once you've got that person or people, work with that team to then develop ideas. Your ideas will change, the market will change, the company will change, the product will change, regulation will change. But the one thing that's the most persistent in an early stage company are the people. And so make sure that you found the company with the people you really love and want to work with.
And I think you got my cheat sheet of my questions. That was my question. So actually I had it down as team is critical for startup success. And you actually narrowed it down to especially the count of the team. How do they find the team members? I think how do they find that finding team is difficult, period. At the early ages, how do they think that, okay, what team structure is the best team? Like, is it technical or is it more the business side that they would need to have? Well, feel free to jump in, but I'd love to hear Patrick, since you have very short time with us.
Yeah, I think if you had to design it ideally, yes, you would find co-founders with non-overlapping, non-duplicative skill sets. You often hear this dynamic of a technical co-founder and a business co-founder. You often hear this dichotomy of someone who's Ms. Outside, who's out there selling and being the face of the company, and Ms. Inside, who's sitting in the back actually building the company. And so there are all kinds of dichotomies like that. And yes, if you had your choice of people, you would choose someone who was a very good complement to you in that way. But again, I think the most important thing is, even if you're totally overlapping, even if you have totally the same skill sets, the same networks, the same everything, choose someone that you trust and you like. Because there will be so many times when it's so hard to start a startup, you will think you're going bankrupt one day, you'll think that you're done, and you really need, it's like a marriage kind of, you really need your work spouse to kind of carry you through those bad times. And even if you have the same skill set, you will be able to hire a third and a fourth and a fifth to round out that skill set. But what you can never replace is that deep repository of trust. And so everyone who's listening here is really, really lucky, because you're all in school. You're all in a good high school, you're all in a good college, or you'll go to a good college. It's no wonder, Priya spent many years heading university relationships for Silicon Valley Bank. It's no wonder that when you look at all of the great companies, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Microsoft, Uber, I mean, these were all started by founders who met each other in school. And it's because you have lived apart of home, you've lived away from home for the first time in your life, you're becoming independent, you've gone through so much together. That's a way of bonding people that few other environments can really do.
Right. And last, I know we have like a minute with you, a minute or two. What if any of these members or the folks who are listening in, or the future of this team wanting to pitch to X Fund, what would convince you to put money in them? What is the sector and stage of the company?
If Ms. Priya Rajan likes you, you're in.
I love them all. You're now committed to 4 teams now.
Perfect. Where do I wire? So it's really easy to get in touch with us. Just patrick@xfund.com, or you can go to our website, xfund.com, and you'll see how to get in touch with us. The earliest that we will go is that full-time team. So many people say, do I need to have a product? Do I need to have customers? Do I need to have revenues? Do I need to even have been incorporated? And in the end, no, you don't. We can help you get incorporated, but what you need is a full-time team. That can be a founder, that can be 2 founders, that can be a team of 5. That's the earliest that we will go. And then right up around there. So typically what we'll ask for is just that you have that full-time team and a real commitment and idea of what to do. And at the earliest stages, if we were a late stage investor, no, I would require, hundreds of pages of spreadsheets from you, and I would require references and talk to customers and everything. But at the very earliest stages, we would want to, it's a bit difficult in this coronavirus thing, but we would want to meet you in person. Right. We want to learn about you. We would want to make sure that we could do something material for your company. But the earliest that we would go is that you have committed to do it full time. And so sometimes we get people who are still enrolled in university or still have their jobs at Google. And they say, if only you, VC, you give me money, then I'll quit my job at Google, or I'll take a leave of absence from school. And we will not do that, because ultimately you have to believe the most in your business, in your company. And you're asking us to believe more than you will believe. So we have to believe first. We have to wire the money to you, and then you'll believe enough to quit your job at Google. No. The number one person who believes most in the company has got to be the founder. And so once you've made that decision to do this thing full time, to leave your job at Google, to take a leave of absence from school, to turn away all those other job offers you got when you graduated, then you can come talk to us. Then we're interested.
That's right. Thank you so much, Patrick. I know it's right at time for you, so I want to
I really apologize.
No. It's I mean, I think the panel pitches ran a little bit long, but thank you. I have Nabil here. I'm going to continue this conversation, but thank you so much, Patrick.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Nabil, thank you again for giving us the extra time and diving right in here. Very similar to some of the questions that I asked Patrick. With him, I've worked closely with him on the X-Fund side, but also on the SVB side, because I led the university engagement. So,
absolutely,
it's very, you've jumped in one of the hardest sectors and very technical, very deep expertise that you would need in. How did you choose that? Like, what was your passion to dive, and what made you quit 23andMe to join and do your own thing? Because I think that's not an easy thing for folks to do.
Absolutely. So I think that's actually a great question, because I think it kind of centers around the whole idea of, you have limited time on this earth. You might as well spend it doing things that you actually love and enjoy, right? I mean, if you love making a new mobile app that does X, Y, Z, then go do that mobile app that does X, Y, and Z, right? But if you like working in the lab, if you like doing biology, I think that's what you should do. And I think, speaking to a lot of high school students, I mean, I was a high school student a couple of years ago, right? So I understand what it feels like. I think the number one advice that I would give is, right now, being a founder is like super hot. It's super sexy. Everybody wants to be CEO, right? But I think if you kind of take a step back and really understand, are you actually starting a company or doing something for the sake of starting something, or actually trying to solve a problem? And I think 9.9 times out of 10, it's always the people that want to do something, irrespective of just starting something, or irrespective for the fame or what it means to be a startup founder. Those are the people that ultimately succeed. Because when the going gets tough, the people that just wanted to do it just to do it, they'll always go away. So I think the number one piece of advice I would give is, you have this kind of magical time where there's like no consequences, right? You can start a bunch of things, they can all fail, and nobody's going to say anything about it, right? And in fact, they'll probably applaud you for doing that. So if I were you, I would just keep on innovating, keep on hacking. And then when you're ready to commit something, like Patrick said, actually go full in, 10 out of 10, commit. Find that technical co-founder, find the people that you trust, that you've built a lasting relationship with, and then just give it your all. But I wouldn't start something for the sake of just starting something because it just seems cool.
And on that, you mentioned about technical co-founder, and all of these students are still learning how to code, still kind of perfecting their. So if you see in most of their pitches, they had about, I'm raising this much, but I'm going to spend this much on, getting hiring a contracting team to do my app development. So how critical is it to have in-house technical talent before they start a company full time?
So I think it's 100% critical, whether you're starting like a brick and mortar, or whether you're starting maybe, let's say, stem cell biobanking, right? I think you can never hire you can never hire a co-founder as opposed to when you're starting a startup, right? That co-founder has to be with you from day one. So I would say, number one piece of advice, find yourself a technical co-founder. And if you can't do that, go make yourself one, right? Yeah. I think you all are under 18. You guys are super, super young. There's plenty of resources out there. I mean, you're still in high school. When you go to college, I think take that opportunity to learn. I think Elon Musk famously says this. He's like, college is a place where he just downloads a bunch of algorithms and ways to think in his head, right? And I think I would use this time as well to do similar things. I mean, coronavirus is definitely pretty disappointing or unsettling, but at the same time, it gives you a pretty unique opportunity to just learn whatever you want to learn about, right? Whether that's this so-called thing, blockchain, artificial intelligence, biology, CRISPR, et cetera. I think now I would just sit down and like for a couple of hours a week, just flip open TechCrunch, flip open Wired magazine, just start reading what people are working on. And And over time, you'll become an expert for sure.
Yeah. And how do you, I mean, that kind of brings up another question for me. How do you balance all this stuff? I mean, like with school and obviously social engagements that you have, plus venture, which is becoming more and more as day progress, as more of your passion to do. How do you kind of balance it out?
Yeah, so I think one of the unique things that especially I think you guys have the advantage, or we have the advantage. I think I'm young enough to say that for sure.
Yeah, you are.
I think when you're 26, you're under 27 years old, there's not a lot of other commitments that you have, right? And I think now is a perfect time to really just get involved and do something that you love, right? As opposed to maybe when you're in your 30s or 40s, you have a family, you have a significant other, it just gets hard, right? I think starting something, putting your all into it really means investing, working 80 hours a week, right? And people, you may watch a lot of YouTube videos, people say that, you may think it's a joke, but no, it really is. When you're actually starting something, at least in the early days, you really are putting in those incredibly long hours. And ultimately, that's really what's necessary in order to win. I've never heard of a case where somebody's just worked on something kind of on the side or half-assed it and became something super successful, right? In order to actually win in this game, I think I'll call it a game, you really do have to invest 110% of your time, and it's going to take a lot out of you. But I think if you're up for the challenge, I would 100% make sure to do it.
And just a couple more questions. One thing that comes to me quite often from young entrepreneurs is, they have this idea and they hit a wall, right? It doesn't go anywhere. What does that mean? Does that mean that they go back to step zero to kind of like restart, or is it like they need to kind of do a pivot? And when do you assess that there's a pivot needed, or you just fold?
Absolutely. So I think when I was in high school, maybe if I told my mom and she didn't like it, maybe I would pivot then, right? But what I've come to know is, you know what? I've pitched over like 200 VCs. Like, I don't even want to tell you how many no's I've gotten, right? Yeah. So I think it's very kind of important that the most successful people that you read about, those are often the people that like they've gotten turned down the most. I think Patrick had talked about Brian Chesky and Airbnb. If you watch some of their founding story videos, they got turned down by everybody. Very, very smart people said no to them. So I think when somebody says no to you, I would look at what they actually mean when they're saying no. There's a lot in that. So I would say if somebody kind of rejects you or says no right off the bat, that doesn't mean anything at all. If anything, I would take that as a grain of salt, look back on what you actually are building, and look at it in terms of the eyes of an investor. I think the number one advice I would have as a startup founder is, if you want to get money from somebody, actually step into their shoes, see what it actually looks like on the other side of the table. Whether that means talking to people like Patrick, maybe getting an internship here or there, or even just shadowing or reading on Crunchbase or TechCrunch, how these guys are kind of analyzing deals. I think that's going to help you become a better startup founder for sure.
That's great. Final thoughts. If you have to give one word of inspiration to all of these student founders who pitched today and also who's listening in, what would it be?
Yeah, so I think number one piece of advice, going back to what I talked about before, is I would say my number one rule is don't grasp for anything. Don't just start something just to start something. I think if you really want to become successful and do something innovative, you have to actually want to do it because you want to see some change in the world. So I think if you kind of take that to heart, I think you'll go a long way.
Thank you so much, Nabil. Appreciate you giving us extra time today. Sure. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to share with us. And I'm happy to kind of connect with Nabil and try to respond to you all. Awesome. Thank you, Nabil. And Karan, off to you.
Thanks, guys. Can you guys hear me okay? Thanks, Priya. Thank you very much for a great panel. So I think maybe, as the judges are deliberating, I was texting with Karan. Maybe I want to bring Reena back in and maybe say a few words. She's one of the tutors as well as the mentor for a couple of teams. I want her to say a couple of words about what she saw in these teams and maybe a few words of encouragement. Reena?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Shri, thanks a lot. And I'll take a few minutes now, since we are already running a bit behind, to talk about what mentorship I was able to provide and more specifically, what I learned from these kids. I always value the fact that the team is listening and understanding the feedback that is given to them. And every session that we went with them, they learned, they heard, and they did what was told to them. So what I learned from them, more so what I taught from them to them, is about the listening, the communication. And today, what you saw in the pitch is a result of over, I would say, hundreds of hours that the team has put in together. And forget about the time and all. It's like every time they come and ask, it's each and every slide they put in so much time and effort. And they were right on top of every, whether it is research, whether it is finances, whether it is talking about the concepts. And I, as a mentor, thoroughly enjoyed working with them. So if you have a child, if you have a kid who is really interested in soaking this knowledge, which is not taught in schools, which is not taught in regular stuff that they might be learning on YouTube and all, this is a hands-on, real challenging program where they work with industry experts and get to this point to be presenting in front of such an awesome audience, such an awesome team, and learning throughout their program. I mean, looking at the high schools, as Karan mentioned, that I wish it was available when they were growing, and it was definitely not available when we were growing up, nothing like that. And I'm really proud and honored to be part of this program and look forward to working with most of your kids who are on this call and work with them.
Muting. Okay. So guys, a couple of comments here. Thank you, Reena, for your feedback and your experiences. This would be a great program. We really want to take this forward. So as we look at this, right, so I want to talk about, you know, where do you guys go from here? So this is the time, I think, today, take a deep breath, celebrate what you guys have done. Definitely everybody is a winner. So we definitely want you to take these experiences forward. You have accelerated your learning in the last 4 months. We're very happy for that. But then I think it is a good idea for us to do two things, right? We request you guys to first provide your feedback. We want to improve the program, to Reena's point. You know, every cohort that we have, they're going to give us the feedback to make improvements so that the next cohort is going to learn from it. That is number one. Number two is I know that a lot of students have questions as to, you know, where do we go from here? Should we go to a pitch competition? Should we continue to work on this product idea? Should we volunteer for this organization? Should we be an ambassador? So there are so many of those questions that you guys might have. As an individual, think about what you want to do, and as a team, conclude and come up with some ideas of where you want to proceed. If you want to take it forward, we'll send out a meeting invite on May 17th for you guys to come back for an hour. We want to take that opportunity to answer any questions that you have and see how we can take this, you know, help you grow as the next generation of entrepreneurs and business leaders. Okay, so that's really a quick plug in there. Any questions, guys? I know that they're, I don't know, I don't see them yet, the judges. They're still deliberating. I'm sure that you guys made it very difficult for the judges to come to a conclusion. It is never easy. I have been there on that side. So I want to see if there are any questions to keep it going until they come. Priya, you're on mute.
Kidding, guys. I just wanted to say thank you to you and you know, the entire TYE team for doing this. And I've seen this from day one, and you guys have done a fabulous job. And I've seen, again, working with student entrepreneurs for my day job and early stage entrepreneurs, I've seen how these guys came in with, you know, almost like openness of learning and not having necessarily an idea, but from now they're then to now, it's a huge transformation. So kudos to you all, and obviously the mentors who have put in so much time to, give them the opportunity to learn. So great job.
Oh, thank you. And the team of parents and students, if you guys want to actually ask any questions, put it on the chat window and we can try to answer it. And as we get them back, Karan is doing as best as he can to tell them, hey, you need to make a decision, let's go. But I think it's taking a little bit of time. Do you guys have any questions as we have some time here? Okay, there are no questions. Everybody is like looking for the results.
Hey, Shri, maybe you can just tell them how they can participate for next cohort if we have any dates in mind, and just while we are waiting, just maybe some answers around that.
Yes, I think we can actually kind of go to this. So I think we talked about this timeline here. We usually get started in August. For the next cohort, we will be looking for applications from July onwards. We have a number of students who are actually helping us spread the word, and a lot of the current cohort, they did as well. So I think there are 2 or 3 ways I see this being helpful for new students. We're always welcome. Please apply. We're going to start it in August. Second is there are a number of opportunities for you to help with the events, help with this program, as well as with the university program. Oftentimes, a lot of you guys are going to the universities. You will have a front seat as you help the university teams pitch. And that is really coming in June 6th. If that is of interest, please volunteer. Okay. Does that help? Okay, so with that, I think it looks like we have the judges.
Shri, it seems like our judges have had some time to think about our pitches, think about our presentations. They had a lot of feedback. So I want to invite our judges to now come up and just share their thoughts on what they saw today, what they feel, and what our student entrepreneurs could do in the future, how they could improve their pitch, and how they could take their ventures to the next level. So I think we'll follow the same order that we followed for pitching. We followed a specific order. If judges could give us feedback on our first team, Team Uvo. They did a great job. I wish I had student mentors helping me with my coursework, but would love to hear what you all think, judges.
So we're doing it alphabetically. So I'll go first, and I'll put my video off for better Wi-Fi. Uvo was, I hope I'm saying it correctly, but Uvo was my favorite team. I thought they very crisply articulated what the problem is, how they went about it, how they collected customer feedback, how they worked well as a team. I also liked that their slides had minimal content, just enough to highlight the important things and to be able to complement their story. I really liked Vishal's presentation style, where he was pacing himself, he was making eye contact to the camera, he was smiling, and that showed a lot of confidence and really connected with the audience. And I want to highlight how we all had different opinions about different teams. So this is very subjective. And when you're in a pitch competition, it is so important to, at a personal level, connect with the audience. So big takeaways and big kudos on the eye contact, the smile, the awesome storytelling. So good job there.
Yes, I think I really like this problem. What I loved is that there was founder market fit. It seems as though the team was solving a problem that they experienced, and so they were able to understand it in a way that was really resonating with them. I think for feedback moving forward, it seems as though the biggest problem was that these other platforms didn't have the ability to control the quality of the answers. I think that as you go forward and think about this idea, it would be nice to see to really hone in on that part. How is UVO going to be different in terms of managing the quality of answers? You know, are these student tutors going to go through a verification process? Are you going to screen? I would have loved to see double downing on that, but otherwise, great presentation, great problem. I love the t-shirts. It showed that you guys were very professional and serious about what you're doing. Great work.
Paul Lopez here. Yuvo, I love the human story. I love the fact that you did customer validation with north of 100, et cetera. In fact, of all the things, I think that was the biggest takeaway for me of the work you did. I thought of all the ideas where people talked about gamification. You folks showed that. I would double down and continue to work that aspect as you go forward. I thought the handoffs between the team went well. The one thing I did note, you know who you are. There was an occasional, I felt, reading from a script when you're in front of people doing presentations. I know today we sort of have this odd circumstance. You got to figure out how it must come across to where it's natural. So just work on that and it'll come with practice. Well done.
Shashi here. Really nice presentation, very polished. Just to build on what the other judges have said, you had a very crisp and clean and easy to understand presentation. On the Q&A side, we only heard from 2 of you. So in the moving forward, I would expect to see more participation from the other team members because it sounds like you each had amazing contributions. At least that's what I remember. I only heard from 2. The other piece of feedback I have is, in addition to vetting STAR students, considering who's paying for this app, is it the students themselves, or is this going to be a subscription that parents would provide, or that a school could provide to students that clearly needed some help? There may be more frictionless ways of getting paid for what you're doing here. And overall, I think this is a really it was a really good presentation, and wish you the best.
Excellent. Yeah, Karan?
No, Naeem, you can go ahead.
No, I thought you were in the mute, so I was just, let's talk about the second team. Second team to present was My Recycler. So judges, what do you think about, what feedback can we give them?
I can start again. So I think my biggest feedback would be, it is on you when you pitch to really articulate your strengths, and the onus is on you to really highlight your awesomeness factor to the judges, because they have no idea the work you've put in. And during the deliberation with the judges, we found out from Naeem the journey you had gone through, and that was just very impressive. How you didn't take the easy road, how it was a very difficult question and model to answer, but you stuck with it. And so this is really for all the teams too, but think about what have you done so well and how can you highlight it for the judges in that limited time.
Yeah, Fatima?
Yep. Loved the audacity to approach such a big problem. I think that's always really exciting. I think the best entrepreneurs are often the most daring. So that I really commend you on that. If I had to give one piece of feedback, I would say that there could have been a little bit more articulation on how exactly this was going to be, or this will be different from the other platforms. So it seems like there's this big problem of like recycling and not knowing what to do. It may be nice for you to carve out one specific element of this like recycling problem and just focus there. But again, this is just for the sake of giving feedback on how you can be better. Overall, great job, great teamwork. I was so impressed with what you did, to Sharu's point, what we learned behind the scenes. So keep it up. I love it.
Thanks, Fatima. Paul?
The work that you did in terms of the research and utilizing Nextdoor to make it even easier, I think was impressive. You also moved the questions around to where it wasn't one person answering the majority of them. I'd say A couple of things to think about that as you move forward might be the understanding of where the savings would really come from for the clients that would sign up for this capability. And then how could you take your financials, which were, by the way, impressive, and consider partnering with some of the recyclers, et cetera. I think those are a couple of things, if you had more time and if you stay with the project, I hope you'll consider. And team, well done with as Fatima said, a big problem.
Thanks, Paul. Shashi?
Yeah, I think the other judges said it really well, that about your journey. Would have liked to seen some more of that. Just a couple of things to think about as you move it forward. That the amount of user-generated data about recycling sites is you seem to be taking in a lot of that. How would you verify that? Certainly having good drop sites and partners in there is a way to do that. I would encourage you to look at ways that the partners could participate in the app to keep that content current. And the corporate social responsibility people inside of these corporations are tasked with doing those types of things. So you may have you may have people that you could speak to there. The other thing is in Nextdoor, I was just thinking as I was hearing your story in the judging room, there's people who are super passionate in my Nextdoor about recycling. And what are the things that you could do to enable them to encourage their neighborhood to recycle? Could you be an aggregation point? Could you do those types of? Could you make them super recyclers? So your idea is really interesting to me, and it captured my imagination. And I really hope you take it forward.
Thank you, Shashi. We can move on to the next team. The next team was Buzz. Charu, if you want to share your thoughts, we can start with you.
Sure. So I appreciated how you narrowed down your sort of ideal customer persona. You knew what kind of designers, you knew what kind of young women you wanted to go after. And I think when you're telling a story, different people might pick up on different things. So I think some people on the judging committee disagreed with this, but to me personally, the go-to-market strategy was not clear. So being a real-life full-time entrepreneur, I know how hard it is to acquire those users and consumers, and it was not clear to me how you would go about really, getting in front of those young women, and then B, converting them into users and loyal users. So that's my feedback.
I absolutely love this presentation. I think that you did a phenomenal job highlighting the problems for both sides of the marketplace. So people wanting to find these unique styles, and then people wanting to focus on creating clothing, but not having the marketing platform to do so. I think that to make, like, when you're focusing on a niche problem like this, one thing that may be helpful to get people to understand how big of an opportunity this is to maybe bring up numbers that show the scope of the opportunity. So like, hey, there are approximately X 100,000 small designers right now, and X% of them don't have a way to sell their items. So the more you can use numbers to really highlight how big your problem is, the better people will understand. But all in all, I love the way that you segmented out your customer research. I love that you focused on a small area of consumers. And I loved, most importantly, that you took the time to identify the problems that the designers would face. And then you created a business model to monetize off of that, right? Like a premium, so they wouldn't have to deal with that. So all in all, really love this concept.
And I'll build right off what Fatima said. So take the numbers, because that really, if you don't know it, meets the listener on the left side of their brain, and then tell a story about maybe one such person, a buyer or whatever. In fact, I'd tell all of you, figure out how to tell a story with your presentation while delivering hard-hitting numbers. The other thing I'd say is we all talked about, or I think I heard, maybe even the Q&A when you were done, why couldn't you consider going into partnership with Instagram or Facebook? I know you viewed them as competitors, but it may be something to reconsider. I thought one of the best parts of this team was the ease of the Q&A that you all did. I thought your visuals were very, very professional. And then the one other thing I'd say that I've said to another team is at least two of you, I felt were reading a script. You got to connect with the listener. But talk about a problem defined in an easy solution. Thank you.
Shashi?
Yeah, I think the judges, the other judges summarized it nicely. You know, one of the things that I really loved about this team is that you're serving underserved people, and designers especially have a tough time becoming known. There's two things that I would recommend when you move forward with this. Number one is that you're growing these designers. You're going from just having the design skill and teaching them how to do fulfillment through shipping and the services you're providing. How else can you grow them? Can you help them grow into something, into a business of their own? To me, that was what sparked my imagination about what you were saying, is that you could grow them beyond. It's very, very much like what TYE as an organization wants to do, is to grow these growing young entrepreneurs, and you're doing that. The second was about your presentation. It was very memorable. The slides were really nice. There was one thing that was missing for me, and that was the story of the designer themselves. I would have dearly loved to see your, some of the designs that some designers, some of their designs in your presentation incorporated in, and just to get a feeling for that you've spoken to them, and we can connect with them in that way. It would have made your presentation that much more powerful. But do keep at it. This is a really cool idea, and I echo Fatima. She said this is really nice. So onwards.
Thanks, Shashi. And we move on to our last team, auto schedule. Charu, if you would want to share your thoughts.
Sure. So as you could tell from my Q&A, I think based on my last startups experience, I'm biased against a product like this based on the user behavior. That said, how impressive it is that being in high school, you were already aware of these challenges, like workflow integration, working with Facebook and Slack directly. Just a bunch of other fundamental user issues that came up. And like in our company, it took Stanford and Ivy League grads several months to figure this out, and you already know this. So that to me shows, and Shashi spoke a lot about this, and I don't want to take his feedback away, but we all just thought you did a really good job, it seems, with customer feedback and customer development, really trying to understand how they behave. So good job there.
Thanks, Charu. Fatima, any thoughts, comments, feedback?
Yes, great job, great presentation. The thing that I love the most about what you did, I mean, there's a lot of theories out there that if you're going to start a company, you should be 10xing something, right? You're either making something 10 times cheaper, 10 times easier, 10 times faster. And I like that you put the time that it took on average for people to schedule something, which was like the 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then you showed the 11 minutes with auto scheduler. I thought that was very impactful to understand the exact problem and then how you were solving it. I think in terms of constructive feedback, a lot of people have tried to do similar things around this, right? I love that you brought up Calendly and other platforms. Whenever you take someone out of their pre-existing thing, whether it's email or Slack, that's a new consumer behavior. So I would have loved to see a little bit more on how you would get people to adopt this new behavior and share their calendar, even though their calendar info will not be public. But all in all, like very awesome execution. The fact that both myself and Shashi said that we would use this, I think is very telling that you're onto something great here. So awesome presentation.
Thank you. Paul.
Yeah. The demo was well done. You know, the old picture is 1,000 words kind of deal. And by the way, I thought that, but of all the ones, but in this particular one, I thought showing the 3 calendars and getting matched up, etc. I too liked the 11-minute example. It just hit home. I thought this team was the most natural of all the speakers, and how you may not have realized it. A couple of times you would say, and to add to what so-and-so is saying. That's a nice way to show teamwork. So keep working it. I thought I will say that in my estimation, I think you can do a little better on your slides. The visuals were, to me, okay, but not great. And I know you can do better. And then the last thing I'd say, I'm hoping what I heard you say is you asked 106 teams, not 106 people, but 106 teams were part of your research. And all I can say is, wow, for something like that. So again, remember, entrepreneurship is not a milestone. This whole program is not an end. Hopefully you consider this a journey.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. And what a journey it is, huh? You know, as the others have said, there's a lot to like here. I will point out to the thing that really popped out for me in your presentation was that you did the simulation. You took the core business model, or you took the core workflow out of the app, and you did a simulation, and you produced spectacular results, going from, just as Fatima said, you know, a 10x from you know, using your screens. That's something that all the teams can take away. You don't necessarily need an app to pair people up to answer questions. You don't need an app to pair people up to find designer goods. And you guys prove that you don't necessarily need the app right away to prove that you have a model for you know, removing the friction from meeting and finding a meeting time. To me, that was, you know, really impressive. Really enjoyed hearing about that. I think if I were to give you some forward-looking constructive feedback, think about the business models for business people as well. You know, you could, you know, as I said, I would pay for this right now. I have 5 calendars that I have to keep in sync, and if you could make that pain go away, I would pay you for that. That's a migraine problem for me. But then again, I'm going to point out that I wasn't represented in your slides as a target market. So think about that too. You know, are there other segments that would be, you know, willing to pay you for this? The other thing too is if you manage a calendar and you schedule something on it, you have an opportunity to ask for a tip in your business. And you know, when you know that they've all scheduled a hangout session over at a restaurant, and it goes from 7 to 8 p.m. At 8:05, you can say, hey, if you like this app, don't just give me 5 stars in the App Store. Tip me some cryptocurrency, of course, because it's got to be that, right? But I would encourage you to be a little bit more creative in thinking about how you get paid for what you're doing. Overall, impressive work. Can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you, Shashi. I just want to take a minute to thank all 4 judges. Thank you so much for taking the time out on a Sunday afternoon. But more importantly, thank you for giving all these teams your patient attention and detailed feedback. I think this is something that's super valuable as part of the pitching experience. And I think now everyone is excited for the prize distribution, and there's no one better to hand these off than the mentors themselves. So if Priya, Reena, Shivani, and Naeem could please come on, I think we have decisions from the judges.
And while they're coming on behalf of the judges, wanted to say thanks once more to the parents. We know how much work it took for you all to really ensure they stayed with the program. So congratulations to all of you.
Well, excellent. I think it's good to see all the teams and the mentors. This is Naeem. Just want to share the results with you. So we were in the other room discussing, deliberating, and it was not a slam dunk decision. There were disagreements. There were positions taken. It was close. And I personally take some pride in seeing you, how all of you have grown up. I remember meeting you. There were a lot of clueless faces 6 months ago when we started in September of last year.
That's a good one.
And so it's so beautiful for me and all of the other mentors who work with me, Shivani, Sri, Reena, a whole bunch of other people, to see you come a long way. So it's very impressive and we are proud of you. And I think this is just the beginning. What you've seen is the process of how to take ideas and convert them into a possible startup. And I am very excited to have known you and work with you. So, okay, not an easy decision.
So Naeem, one quick comment. Can everybody be on the video first? I think there are some people who are still getting on the video.
Yeah.
So if I've missed you on the attendee list, make sure to raise your hand so I know to bring you in.
So, okay, I think the award, first I'm going to announce the awards and then the runner-up and the winner. So the award for best customer validation goes to My Recycler. These guys have gone out of the way better than anybody else and did the job, and judges were very impressed. The award for the best business model, which made sense, goes to Buzz. So thank you, Buzz. Congratulations. In overall ranking, the runner-up is Auto Schedule, which by definition brings out the overall winner. The best team is Yuvo. So judges, if you want to chime in, say something additional, or other Shivani, Sri, Reena, if you want to add something to that. But very, very proud to see what how you guys came forward.
Yeah, maybe Shivani, a couple of words. I want to see if Shivani can actually add something.
Maybe Reena and Sri or anybody else, yeah?
Yes.
Shivani,
Thank you. I can only imagine this must be a very tough one, but congratulations, teams. You've all done amazingly well. We are so proud of you. And yeah, everybody's a winner. Like we said, everybody's a winner. And it's always hard during judging times like this because there's so many different points of views. But I hope you're all taking the feedback that you got from the judges, and you go and incorporate this as you move with your projects. Thank you so much.
Reena, maybe a couple of words. Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. And as Shivani said, everybody's a winner, and this is just the start. I mean, this is just one place for you guys to start, and you have a long way to go. So congratulations for all you have achieved so far, but don't just stop here. Don't just stop here. That's what I would say. Go for more business pitches, go and make this work and take it to the next level. So congratulations, you guys have done a great job. So proud of all of you.
So maybe I'll actually add one more comment. I think this is a great, I think it actually, one thing that I realized is, and I have seen this with the last cohort, is it just comes to a screeching halt. It's like you guys are running at 200 miles per hour. Every day you're meeting and suddenly you're like, I don't know what to do now. So what I want you guys to do is individually think about what you want to do, where you want to take it, where you want to take it forward as a team. Think about what are your next steps. And then let's actually meet up, guys, and let's see how we can actually kind of help you. And before I forget, I want you to fill out the feedback form. Feedback is so critical for us because we are looking for you guys to help improve the program. And we really want to take this program forward. Okay. With that, any closing comments, right, Karan? I know that you're the MC. I'll give it to you.
Just one thing, I think while we were working on this, there was a group of high school students that were putting together a lot of what you all saw today. I think today, if we can just take 1 minute and just thank all our high school volunteers, that would be great. I think we really appreciate all the work they've done. But also, in addition to that, this is also a great opportunity for you all to be a part of the community. We have events lined up, as Shri mentioned in the past. We have opportunities for student volunteers, student involvement, parents to volunteer, and for parental involvement. So I think there is a lot when we think about building this TYE community. Today, we realize that everyone has walked out a winner, but we want to grow this family for more teams and more students to come in and benefit from what TIE and TYE have to offer. So with that, I think it's a reason to celebrate. Congratulations, everybody. And thank you all for coming in, for watching and supporting everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Look happy,
Thank
guys.
you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.